All right. Hello and welcome back to the Game Bet Match podcast. I'm your host, Manny Friedman, along with my co-host.
And Brad Sloan.
Back in the house. We just finished watching one of the best days of Masters 1000 tennis I could remember.
Yeah, I mean, this might be, I think it's the best day we've had so far the year of tennis, period, to be honest. Even the slam. I mean, obviously the Australian Open final was amazing, but that was just one match. Like today was 16 matches, and like the entire day was pretty fucking awesome.
It was pretty great. 3-setter after 3-setter. The grandstand court alone, out of 8 sets played, 7 were tiebreakers.
And the 8 set was pretty damn good too.
Yeah. It was crazy, crazy night of tennis. And then like the outer courts, we got 3 tiebreakers in Hallis, De Minaur. We got like a bunch of other 3-setters.
There's going to be a lot of tie breaks here, not just today, but there's going to be a lot of tie breaks here in general. It's like the courts. I don't know if the courts are playing quicker than expected or not, but I just feel like there's been a lot of closer sets than I thought there would be.
Today, I think it was just coincidence. I don't really necessarily think it was based on court speed. This is still known as a slowish hard court. Not obviously as slow as Indian Wells, but it's on the slower end of the spectrum. So, all right. So we've had 4 days of the Miami Open so far. We will go over our bets first, like we always do. Some key takeaways going forward. There's some like concepts we want to talk about, such as like money line parlays and long shot parlays and kind of the value of parlaying our picks. And then we'll go into the round 3 bets. So let's get into it.
Yeah, so I guess, Manny, starting with round 1, like what did you like? What did you win? What did you get out of it? Like what are some of your thoughts about round 1?
Let me head to the spreadsheet here. Bigger. Scrolling all the way down. All right, here we go. So starting round 1, I actually had a pretty good round 1, to be honest. Like there's some takeaways, but like, they're not the top guys, right? So you're still kind of betting like challenger level stuff.
Well, yeah, it's the round of 128, right? So you're literally betting mostly challenger level guys.
Yeah. I was quite successful, especially in day 2. I think I got like 12 out of my 13 bets. The only loss I had was Kubler -3.5 against Montero. And I know we had a discussion with Tidbits Tennis about that match. And Montero's a battler. I mean,
he's battling really hard, serving really hard lately for sure.
I know.
I posted a stat: 90% of his matches in the past year, he's gotten to at least 5 games in a set, and that a lot of that is the serve. But he's asking these tougher guys questions. So I posted on the Twitter, like the way he's playing right now, is he like a sneaky over guy? Especially because like I feel like he's not seen as that right now. And that might be a spot where you can make money betting overs on him because he might not be getting like the respect yet in terms of overs, not winning matches, but just overs. Or pushing guys he's playing to 12 and a half.
I think it's a good play because he's not really good enough to blow anyone out, right? He competes.
Well, he's got so many holes, right? He's got his movement's not great, no net game, no backhand. Like the match point against FAA was amazing because that was just so Montero and so Manny to those like brick. So it was so Manny Montero to brick a forehand volley on match point.
It is. And against Kubler, I think he had 5 match points in the second set tiebreak, which he squandered before pulling it out 8-6.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy, but I respect his fight. I respect actually the way he's playing now. I think he's hitting his serve and his forehand bigger than he did in the past.
Yeah, I mean, that was always his game. He's always been serve, forehand, and nothing else. But yeah, the serve and the forehand are doing better right now. That's why he's winning a little more. And actually, the backhand is like slightly improved too. Like he's playing a little bit better tennis.
Right. But I agree with the sneaky overplay on him. I think that's a good observation because like he played team in Rio, right? That went clearly over. I mean, let's look at his tennis abstract. So today, obviously, he went over playing FAA 6-6. Kubler, I guess that's over, right? 22
That's
and a half.
probably an over. Pella, but I mean that's the thing, right? Montero is bad enough; he can lose the set to Pella.
These are all 3-set overs. Pela,
Yeah,
Munar, Cecchinato,
I'm sure that Nori was an
Ramos.
over,
5-5 against Nori is
over. I mean, like
over.
every single one of these matches is over, unless he's playing that G Kui is probably an over against the guy 900 in the world.
Right, but that's still 3
I
and
mean,
4.
literally,
It's
like
not
every
it's
single
1
one of
and
these is an
2.
over since United Cup.
That's insane. He might not be a sneaky over. He might just be a pure over. Like
Yeah.
I put Kovacevic in that. He didn't go over today, of course, but I put him in that category.
Yeah.
Right?
But I feel like he's not getting a whole lot of hype, Montero.
Yeah. Well, guys that get hype are guys that win matches. He doesn't necessarily win, but we're trying to find value in terms of betting, right?
Yeah.
So,
but he's winning more than he used to.
yeah, he's 500 in his last 6.
That's really good. 500 puts you at like somewhere near like puts you well in the top 50.
That's true.
I'm trying to see. I was looking at it. So like, so I was looking at, for instance, like there's only like 5 guys on the tour that have a winning percentage above 75%. 5 or 6 guys.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Like it's really hard to win matches.
It is, and margins are so small, so you have to be so mentally superior.
Yeah.
Kind of to consistently win. Yeah, I mean it's tough, but yeah, Montero is a fun guy to bet this year. He's been fun to watch too. We've enjoyed it.
Very fun to watch. He just like yells and screams. So I guess I was a little bit off. Like 500 win percentage puts you borderline top 50 in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I mean that's above where he certainly I think is thought of. Like I don't think of him as a top 50 guy.
No. I think of him in like the 70 to 90 range, right?
Yeah, same thing. I think his ranking is pretty accurate-ish.
Yeah. So next guy let's talk about is Team. We can continue on Team. So another disappointing loss.
Really though? Like, is this? I mean, he got to. I don't know. I wasn't like. I bet this. I tailed you, or we tailed each other. So I don't remember who tailed who, but like,
yeah,
I don't know. It's not surprising at this point. Like, it's. I don't know. Like, it's just same old, right? Like, you just fade him until he.
Especially on anything that's not playing. But it's like the lack of energy, you lose a tight first set and going away in the second. Like there are just like so many signs where it's just like, even I'm seeing like some better form from Schwartzman, for example, right? Like Team, I see none of it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Like guys that I was fading before. I mean, Shapovalov is kind of a different animal just because of like it's not like his lack of compete. It's just more like tactics and erraticness, right? But
I don't know. I mean, right? Like Umberry didn't compete.
Who didn't compete?
Against Umberry, Shapovalov didn't compete the second set.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. In Indian Wells, yeah. That's true. I mean, these guys are all high on my fade list still. But yeah, Team is it's more of the same. I'm going to continue fading him hard. Are you?
I guess if the books give me decent value to fade, like he's not top 100. I mean, he's playing like a challenger level guy, and especially if it's not Clay. I'm a little worried because like we go to Clay next, so like he's gonna be a little better on Clay. His game plays best on Clay. It still plays best on Clay.
He won one. He won one match in the entire Golden.
I'm not saying he's a threat to win tournaments. I'm saying like I think he's the top 100 guy on Clay still.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put him like, I don't know, if you put him up against like Hugo Dellien, like are you picking Hugo Dellien against him?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Because I think that's like, what about Juan Manuel Cerundolo?
That's 50-50, and the books are going to give Team more respect.
I don't know if they will. I mean, that's the question.
Well, they still like Sonego should.
I guess there's still only. I mean, I guess with Sonego, like, Team. I feel like the books know that any match he plays is going to be close because like he's a ridiculous shot maker. Did you see the one he hit against Evans
Crazy.
on
To
set
win the
point?
second
Like,
set, yeah.
yeah, like that was nuts. That was
Yeah,
insane.
he is erratic too.
That's what I mean. I think that's why they were only like you were only laying 2.5 with him is because like he could have lost the first set.
But his
you know?
intensity, his energy is consistent. His, desire and, like physical intensity too, not just mental intensity is always there. It's just more like he just misses, right? But that's what I'm not seeing from Team. I'm not seeing that consistent physical and mental intensity there. Like it was a tight first set. He was disappointed to lose, and he just went away. Double break like within 10 minutes in the second set. That's what I'm concerned about. That's what I look for when I see like clear fade. So
I agree. I just don't. I mean, it all depends on what the books tell you, right? Like
yeah,
it's you still
but
have to. I mean, you still have to play price, but yeah.
but the books tend to give Team respect because of being.
It feels like they
aggressive
still have
and
tended to a little bit, and I guess
yeah.
the other thing I would say is like I still think his game plays better on clay than anywhere else.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So I think like it's not the pure fade that it would be like if we're going to like hard where you could just you could almost blind fade. Like I still think you're gonna have to really look at this.
Yeah.
But he's a guy who'll definitely be looking to fade.
Yeah. As far as other first round, I honestly had a great first round. It was Murray Lajovic. I didn't pick the right winner here, but like I picked the over on games. Like I think Murray's another clear over guy, right? Just like
yeah. Every match
3 sets.
Every match seems to go 3 sets with him.
I know. I mean, this one didn't even go 3 sets, but it just seems like he can't win matches easily anymore,
Well, he's not physically good.
Right.
He's just mentally really good.
Right. That's very true. That's very true. Popyrin Emer, that was it ended in a Emer retirement. I think he sprained his ankle pretty bad.
Yeah, it was pretty bad from what I heard.
But
Popyrin looked so bad, and I mean we can just go ahead and skip to. We'll talk more about round one, but
yeah.
Popyrin, that was such a bad match versus I think it was VDZ in round two.
Oh, that who did VDZ? Oh, Popyrin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just so sloppy.
He is. I bet the Popyrin money line against VDZ at plus 100.
Yeah, I went the other way on it, but I didn't.
You did.
But terribly good about it. Like those are both just like awful. They're like, I mean, Poppy like. I was excited after Australia, and clearly he was just like playing well in Australia. Like that suits his game. He gets the crowd on his side. So like there's a lot going for him there, but like he's just not like just way too many just like unnecessary misses, man.
Yeah.
Times when the other guy wants to go away and you just need to put the ball in the damn court.
Yeah, I didn't see too much of that match.
I mean, like he was up a set and he had like break points on VDZ. Like he had several break points.
I know.
And he would just like miss returns. And VDZ would like double fault twice in a row to give him love 30 or 30-40. Like he wants to go away. Just let him go away. Hit the ball in the court 3 times and watch him go away.
Right.
Like there's no need to like.
Yeah. I mean, Popyrin outside of Australia, we've said it before. He's different.
Well, he had a good run in the Monanea Challenger in Bahrain. So like he's just like he's a way worse version of Shapo, but he's actually kind of the same game style where he's like smacks balls around, but like just no so sloppy, just so sloppy.
Yeah.
Like no tactics, like and just no ability to understand when the other guy just like wants to like the other guy wants to go away, let him go away.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see how that match was very sloppy.
And VDZ looks like he doesn't even want to play tennis. We can talk more about him later, but
yeah, we will. I mean, I have a clear play in the third round match that he's going to play against Rude, but yeah. Yeah, that was probably a stay away bet for both, right?
Yeah, we should have both stayed
We
away.
should
This
have
is a
both
dumb
stayed
play for
away
both of
there.
us. Like,
It was kind of dumb. But just as far as the first round goes, I mean, Gasquet O'Connell money line. I was actually surprised to see that at 125. I was expecting Gasquet maybe minus 150. So I thought that was a good price. That ended up cashing. It was a 3-set match. Echeverry Kotov, I was very surprised that was minus 120. Like I thought that Etch should have been minus 175, 180. So I was ecstatic to get minus 120 there. Did you hit that as well?
yeah.
So that was really good. And that's a money line play. It's not even like, minus the games.
Yeah, I hit the money line as well. I mean, Etch is just so much. I mean, he's playing so well right now.
He is. He's really playing well. I mean, I had him against Kachanov. We'll get into more of that, but
Yeah.
what else did I have? Yeah, Kovacevic is a clear overplay for me. I mean, that was a tight 3-setter. He plays tons of 3-set matches in challengers, and I guess today he was a little bit overmatched playing Cerundolo, but like
Four
if
and
the
four
guy
for that, right? It was still moderately close.
it was 4-4, but he does play a ton of 3-setters. Like I was checking his tennis abstract. I think like 7 of his last 8 matches have gone 3 sets, and they've all gone over. So he's another good overplay. Nava against Isner, I live bet that after he won the first set, he was still minus 110. So I hit that. And I was like, I didn't think Isner could last physically. And he did win that second set in the tiebreak. I had Isner I think before the match, but or maybe did I just stay away? I can't remember, but I bet Nava after the first set there. Did you have a play in that match? I know you had to play with Nava against Fritz. I want to hear more about that.
Yeah. No, I stayed away from that. It's so tough to play Isner matches right now. Like he's so like I don't know, like he's so good in tie breaks, and he still is mentally really strong, right? He's just like physically
Yes.
has no game. So like you don't
Right.
you probably should just hit the underdog all the time against him, but like Nava's not great. But there was really like all the lines were really tough to hit in that. Like there was just like the overs are always so high with Isner because everybody knows he's a serve bot. So like
Yeah.
there's never value there. It's tough.
Yeah. 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 This was probably a dumb bet. Bublik money line against Wolf. That may have been my dumbest bet of the first round. That's just a clear stay away.
I tailed you there, and you cost me money there too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought I had a good rationale.
No, I like your rationale. That's why I hit it. But it was. I mean, this was just a stupid bet, and what we didn't account for is like, why would you ever bet Bublik in Miami? Like, it's just a terrible idea. It's a slow court. It's a party town with a guy who's not professional. It's also the last tournament, so like, I think of the season as like 6 parts, right? So like, part 1 is like Australia and everything leading up. Part 2 is everything between Australia and India and Miami. Part 3 is the European clay. Part 4 is the grass. Part 5 is the US Open series. And then part 6 is everything after, ending off in the World Tour finals. So this is the last tournament of part 2. Like, Bublik's the kind of guy who I can see just wanting to exit and just being done. Especially like on a slow hardcore, like I don't want to be here. I don't like this surface. I'd rather be out in the clubs. Like,
yeah.
Tennis rationale made sense. I just think there's a lot of non-tennis reasons why this was just a dumb by both of us.
Fair. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, that was probably my dumbest bet. I think this was actually one of my smarter bets. Ruusuvuori Borges under 22.5 games. I mean, Borges just played. He won the Challenger in Phoenix.
I know, and he played that long 3 tiebreak match with who was it?
I think it was Borna Gojo.
Yeah, it was Gojo. Yeah, Gojo. Right? Yeah. Yeah, and so like that was smart. Like I actually think I hit the round before for him to gas out. So I was just like, I guess a round earlier on him gassing out, but like, yeah, it's
I'm
I
actually
stayed away
surprised
because I
he
didn't know
went.
when he was going to gas out. But
I'm actually surprised he went that hard against Gojo because like he probably would have gotten in as a lucky loser anyway.
well, you
know?
never know, right? Because it's they do the draw.
I guess, yeah. And then he had to, unfortunate for him, he had to come back and play Monday. Like he finished qualifying I'm sorry, it was Tuesday, I think was the second round of qualifying. He had to come back Wednesday.
Which
and finish
feels
the
like a
first
flaw in
round.
the tournament, to be honest. Like they have enough off days built into this tournament. I feel like they could.
They could have placed him on the bottom half of the draw and have him play
I'm not
Thursday.
saying special placements for guys. I'm saying like they could play the qualifying a day early. This tournament started on what, Wednesday?
Yeah. So they do qualies
Yeah,
Monday
I
and
guess they can't do
Tuesday.
that because guys are still playing challenges on their places.
It's tough. It's
I mean, they could. The option is they could play all the first round qualifier. The guy who's qualified, like they don't have to play top half, bottom half for the first round, right?
yeah, just do all of the first round on one day.
No, just do 32 matches each day and put all the qualies on all the qualifier guys on the second day.
Yeah, yeah,
Like you have enough off days built in. Like at
true.
some point,
True.
you know, you're gonna have the chance to catch everybody up and get it all
Right.
recirculated, like put back together. Like maybe you then like the second or third round bring them back on a back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I mean, from a betting perspective, I saw how many days in a row Borges played, and I was
or
like,
just start the tournament on a Thursday, right? Like why can't they just start on Thursday?
I actually think there are too many off days built in. I think they should do.
That's why I agree. I think they can start on Thursday and be
Yeah.
fine. Like you need 2 days for the first round and the second round for sure, and maybe for the third round as well, just because of number of courts.
Well,
then you could-
I actually think they should split the fourth round and not split the quarters. Like they split the quarters, and I think that's dumb.
Yeah, they're trying to copy what Wimbledon does with like their Mania day of tennis, which is just dumb. Like there's no
Yeah, there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
For that, but yeah, yeah.
My point is to your point, like there's plenty of off days built in. They could put all the qualies guys on the second day and not hurt the tournament. Or just start the tournament on Thursday and you have plenty of time.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Like you can, I mean, these guys go back to back to back every week of the year, quarter semis, finals, and 250s and 500s and best of 3. They can do back to back for quarters. They could do quarter semis, finals 3 out of 4 days and be fine.
They would be fine. Yeah, I think they have this like new thing where they're making like 5 Masters 1000s 2-week events. So it's like Indian Wells and Miami have always been that way. I think Madrid and Rome have turned into that.
Which stinks. I way prefer the old. The 54-man draws are amazing.
Amazing. They're so deep. It's amazing.
Like every match is relevant. Now you get like this like first round is just crap.
Well, when we get to Monte Carlo, I think that might be the most stacked draw of the year because like that's going to be an absolutely ridiculous draw. Because you're also getting Novak
and the qualifying then is
Rafa in
amazing
there.
for that tournament.
Yeah, amazing. So, and then also Cincinnati and Toronto, those are, I think they're staying the same, but they're making Shanghai as well a 96 and then Madrid and Rome a 96. So I think
That's disappointing.
It's disappointing, but
I honestly, like I was hearing rumors that they want to go to like an 8 slam format, which would just be kind of silly.
Yeah. Anything else you want to add for the first round?
Yeah, I have a couple things to add. So I mean, Nakashima is who we think he is.
Okay.
Right? He beat Oten straights. In basically a serve botting first set match first set, and then he got the one break in the second.
Mm-hmm.
That
was a great bet.
Yeah, I mean, so that's both of them were. I mean, both of them cashed out. Like I just think like, and then Nakashima, and I cashed out Nakashima again in the second round against ADF to yesterday. Mm-hmm. I had ADF 2-0 at plus 165. He tried to choke that away, but he couldn't because it's Nakashima. But like Nakashima is just one of my favorite guys to bet because he 100% is who we think he is.
Yeah, right.
He doesn't look like who we think he is, but he is who we think he is.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of tennis.
Yeah.
I thought the Alves bet against Bagnus was really good. I got killed on Bagnus this week. I also went 0-2 betting Bagnus, which I probably just shouldn't have bet twice on Bags. That was probably the mistake to start with, not the 0-2. But like the 2 was the mistake, not the 0.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alves dominated the second set. He won 71% of points in the second set.
Wow.
Like that's insane. That's above Alcaraz levels.
Yeah.
Like he just was completely, but he still somehow figured out how to lose the match. So tough game, man. Tough game, tough scoring system.
Tough.
Yibing Wu did not look good.
He did not.
He struggled with Edmund and then lost to Schwartzman.
And losing to Schwartzman.
And I got very lucky to cash on Wu the way I did, because it's probably the only reason I didn't bet against Schwartzman. Because like it's kind of sad, but I am happy to cash on Edmund again. Like he's running out of protected rankings, and I'm gonna be really sad when that happens. Because he's still like
even willing to hit it at minus
210.
It's funny. He's such a hard fade guy that you're willing to hit that at minus 210. And you win every time.
I mean, he is. He's now in the 440s, and that's probably the right place for him. I mean, maybe that's a little overstated. He's probably like in the top 200, 300, but like,
yeah,
he's not anywhere near ATP Tour level. And he's just like, but I'm sad because he's running out of like. I feel like there's a clock with him because he only has like 4 more protected rankings, then he's done, and then he won't be on the tour anymore. Because you only get like 12. It's a pretty limited number. It's out like a year, so I think you get 12. But yeah.
Yeah.
What else is there?
You had Fonini money line against Struff.
That was a close match, right? Didn't that
was a close match?
I thought that was a good bet. Like obviously, every time you bet, like
a good bet.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I lost Nakashima Fucevich badly. That was kind of dumb. Palpir and Emer was just a pure.
That wasn't too dumb because the second set was 7-6. Like Fucevich.
That's true. I guess you're right. I guess I had a chance there at plus 175. I guess I'm not upset about that.
He doesn't blow anyone out.
Yeah. Otherwise, there's nothing really like betting Ramos in 2 sets. Like that was a fade on Husler. Betting Ramos to do any like he's another like he's just a choke artist. Like there's
total choke artist. And he never wins in straight sets. It doesn't matter who he plays.
He was on the set. Sorry, I got broken alone.
I know. He's the classic over 12.5 guy.
Yeah.
The classic.
Against any similar competition. Yeah, because you know he's gonna battle his ass off.
Right.
And he's gonna find a way in the end to choke it. Like
yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
I tailed you on the Gasquet O'Connell over. That was cool. On both the money line and the over.
I hit a very nice parlay round 1 and 2, or in round 1. I think it was like a bunch of overs. Where was it? Yeah, I think it was here. Kovacevic, Munar over 20.5, Giron Garin over 20.5, Manarino Shang over 19.5, Molchan Thompson over 20.5. RCB and Zapata over 20.5, but I got a push there because Zapata had an injury. So I got super lucky there. That would have been, I think it was 6.
But to be fair, Zapata looked like he couldn't move. Like he looked like he couldn't move the entire match.
Yeah. Eubanks Kudla over 20.5, Watnuki pair over 20.5, Gasquet O'Connell over 21.5, and Sonego money line over team. And that hit at 24-1. So that's amazing. That was a tremendous win. So that was I just hit a bunch of overs.
Is that when you got paid the 24, or did you that included the push?
That included the push. It was a 35-1 if you include the Zapata. 37-1 to 24-1 due to the push, the retirement. So great win for me. I think that was my best bet of the first 2 rounds. We both got really close on some parlays today, but they were not meant to be. So
I hit on McDonald, but we'll talk about him a little bit in the round 2 because he's one of my takeaways. Other than that, not much else for round one.
Yeah, let's go into round
Um,
two because that's when like there's more like meat and potatoes tennis there,
Yeah.
like in terms of higher ranked guys
And more guys that like people are gonna care about, right?
right, right. So second round.
I don't think you should feel bad about that Pella money line bet versus Shat.
No,
I
I
hit
think
that
that was
for
a great
Pella to win
bet.
a set and it came through. That was another one that thank you because I tailed you on that and that worked out really well. Shap is just so erratic. You're right. You almost bet anybody to win a set and a set against him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter who he plays. Doesn't matter who he plays. And I'm willing to sprinkle some on the money line too, because like if he's missing for 2 sets, he's gonna lose. If he's
Yeah.
not if he's missing for
Yeah.
1 set, he's gonna lose 1 set. If he's not missing at all, he's gonna win. But
Yeah.
like it's
Yep.
worth a flyer, especially if you get like 4-1. Like,
Yeah.
please, And like Pela is like, he's working his way back into form, like he had a hiatus. Like I wouldn't bet that if that was in January, but like he's had a couple matches, like he played Golden Swing, he's getting a rhythm back. So like, took a set. And he's Shapo is a classic over guy due to this erraticness as well.
Yeah.
So I like those bets. Rusevori beat Bautista Agut in Indian Wells as well, and he beat him again here. So RBA is a clear fade guy too.
Yeah, he's just awful right now.
He's playing terrible.
But like you're not getting much value there though, to be honest. Like you're getting minus 120 against Rusevori. Like Rusevori was the favorite. So like he's a clear fade guy, but like
sneaky decent. Like 3 sets against Zverev, and Zverev was decent in Indian Wells. We'll get.
I mean, if you had to do your own current personal rankings, where do you put Rusevori?
I'd probably put him 45, 50.
So I was gonna say somewhere in the 40s. So we're on the same page there. Where would you put RBA?
Probably 85, 90 right now.
Oh, that bad? You're putting him down with like the.
He's bad.
I don't know. I feel like he still is winning matches. He's not beating anybody good, but I feel like he's still winning matches.
Three sets to O'Connell. Beat Fujovic in a tight 3-setter. That was a good match against Hurkacz. Then Fields.
Well, I mean, these all don't count, right? Like, I mean, not these don't count, but like beating the rest, like January, like RBA is always better in Australia because I think it's actually because like the surface fits his game.
January RBA, but those January wins don't impress me. Murray after he played a 5.
No. If anything, it's depressing that he lost a set to Murray because Murray was just like gassed out.
Exactly.
5 sets against 2 sets to Holtz is terrible. Beating Sousa, that's a good score line, but it's Sousa on a fast hard, so I don't really care. Beating Kokkinakis and Adelaide's pretty good. Beating Fokina is pretty good. Like beating he had a pretty good January. That's a pretty good January.
It's a good January.
But since it's been not great.
No, like it's been terrible.
Well, I mean, I don't know about terrible. I would put it more than not great, but like I guess I see the argument for calling him 70-90. I have him a little higher still. I still have him in like the
a little bit higher. Maybe 60, 70.
I have him somewhere in the 50s, which is why I thought like, okay, guy in the 40 for guy in the 50s minus 120 is probably the right line. Which is why I didn't bet it.
Like it was in Indian Wells, it was a pretty comprehensive win. It's 6-2. It's not like it was like a tight 3-setter. Like Rusevori clearly outplayed him.
No, but if you flip that second set, right? I have that first set in Indian Wells, like, and if you flip that second set here, all of a sudden you're talking about a 3-setter. Again, I'm not saying it was or wasn't the right play. I just like, I don't know. I mean, it's just an interesting discussion, right? Like, so that's what I want to get your thoughts on it. I don't know.
Also, it's slow hard. I think RBA needs a faster court to make more progression with his. Oh, this
isn't a good spot for RBA at all. I agree. I just I wanted to hit Rusevori here, but my point is more I don't think the books are really giving RBA too much respect anymore. the fact that he's a dog against Rusevori, even if it's a slight dog, if he's a dog against Rusevori, is a pretty far fall for RBA.
I think I got him at minus 120 here. I think Rusevori, after the win in Indian Wells, he should have been minus 140 or 140.
Well, that's where the line ended up. So I almost hit this, and I was looking at the minus 120. And while I was looking at it, it moved from 120 to 140, and then I couldn't hit it anymore.
Yeah, I don't think I would have hit it at 140 either. And I wasn't willing to lay games either on this bet.
Like I think this 120 was like the minimum I would have taken, like the maximum I would have taken Rusevori at. The worst line I would have taken Rusevori at, to be clear.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into Rusevori's third round match against Taro Daniel, but I am liking what I'm seeing a little bit more from Rusevori. He's not on my like I got to see the line, and like I'm not gonna blindly fade him,
Yeah,
I was in some instances. But Rublev minus 3.5 against Wolf. I like that bet. I don't really regret it. I think maybe laying games with Rublev early in a tournament is not the best idea, but it was more like I didn't have much confidence in Wolf. I thought Wolf was getting a little bit more erratic, and like since Dallas.
Yeah, I stayed off of this one. I thought this line was actually the right line. I mean, Rublev's just you can't lay games with Rublev.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to lay.
And that's why the book is giving you 3.5 here, because they know that. Especially at minus 135. Like maybe at even money you do that, but at minus 135, ugh. Like I saw it at 4 and I think you got a slightly better bet than me here. I saw it at 4 at like minus 110, and I was still willing to hit it. Like I thought that like I think Vegas got it right here, which they did. I mean, it was a 3-game difference.
But to me, this was more a fade Wolf spot more than I'm pro Rublev.
If you want to take Rublev money line, fine. I just don't think you can lay games with Rublev at this point.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Wu minus 1.5 sets. I think you had this bet as well, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. I laid off this because I saw how bad Wu was against Edmund. Like if you can't beat up Edmund, then you lose all respect from me. And I'm really hoping that, like I said, I'm getting kind of sad because I'm starting to run out of opportunities to hammer against Edmund.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, maybe Wu needs a faster court, right? Like he was better in Dallas than he was in Indian Wells in Miami. He kind of ran out of gas against Schwartzman, which isn't good, as you said. I don't know. I don't know if this is like, okay, we got to think differently about Schwartzman. I don't necessarily think so. Maybe he's getting slightly better.
No, I don't think so.
Slightly. But yeah. Anyway, I mean, Schwartzman won that match outright, so that was obviously not a good bet. Jerry plus 6.5 against Sinner. Got
there, but I think it was a dumb bet by you, to be honest.
You think it was a dumb bet?
I think it was a dumb bet. Like it got there, but I think it was a really dumb bet. Like you delay minus 155 and you barely got there.
You're higher on Sinner than I am, right?
Sinner is capable of covering the 6.5. He covered 6 of it.
He is capable. I just thought 6.5 is a lot of games. That's where I was going. I mean, I probably should have laid 155, but I don't know. Sinner early in tournaments is not the best. Like, he had a tough match against Gasquet in Indian Wells.
I'm not saying I would have taken Jerry plus 6.5. I'm saying I think this was a stay away. I thought the books hit this pretty much on the head.
Fritz Nava. I hit over 19.5. You had the Nava money line, and you were going back and forth with match point 9.
Yeah, it was a Nava party. I mean, look, and Nava came out and broke him to start the match off. Like it started off looking good, and then Nava just like the wheels fell off. But like, I don't know. I don't feel bad at plus 875. Like if you're putting a plus 875 money line bet in, sometimes bad stuff's going to happen, right? Like there's a reason why the guy's plus 875.
Right.
Like Novak Djokovic is not plus 875.
No.
So, you know, um, but
Yeah,
yeah, so I didn't like I had Navin win a set at like plus 300. Like, I don't feel bad about that. He was up a break and he got to 4-all. Like, I don't know. Like it's when you make these when you make big plus money bets, like sometimes they're gonna lose.
see, to me, I'd have an easier time playing that if it was a slam and it was 3 out of 5. Then I would consider it. But in a 2 out of 3 format, where
Fritz has
Fritz is
been
a little bit
awful
better.
in these spots. Like, this is the best Fritz has done in these spots. But, like, Fritz in his last, I posted the stat. Like, Fritz in his 10 matches in the past year against top 100 guys in the first, second round of a tournament is 5-5. And he had lost a set in 9 of 10 of those. Like, and you can remember the losses, stuff like Popperin, Holt. Like, he's not good in these spots.
Yeah.
Like, you can look it up. He's like, this is like, he's just awful in the opening rounds. Like, he's awful against guys who he should crush.
Nearly lost first round to Shelton and then he
Lost to Simone first round of Paris or second round
that
of
was
Paris.
a bad loss. That's true. I remember that.
We talked about Holt. Lost
This-
to Zapata second round or he lost 2 sets to some guy who I haven't heard anything from since, Santiago Taverna.
Yeah.
Like,
even the one he won, like in Dallas, like Jack Sock to win just 6 and 4. That's not that promising,
no.
Isner, he lost a set in in Acapulco, so he didn't start that tournament well.
But he just doesn't he's terrible starting tournaments.
Yeah,
especially against guys who are outside the top 100 who should just be hammering like 3-2 or 3-3, 4-3, something like that. Like,
good point.
So I thought it was a great bet. Again, like I thought that Nava had like a 20% chance of winning, and I thought it was like a coin flip. He'd win a set, and like he got to 4-all in a set. He kind of had a chance. He got up a break right away, and he just it is what it is.
Right, but now that Fritz got through that, you probably think differently, right?
Yeah, I'm a lot more on Fritz now.
Okay.
Like his battle is always getting through. Like he basically he just really struggles to get up for like guys who he's way better than.
Yeah, I thought it was competitive. Like I thought it would be, over 19.5. Like, I thought it would be somewhat close. I just wasn't willing.
And I don't hate this bet either. Like I think it's all like just how much risk you wanted to take. You know what I mean? Like I preferred the bigger plus money because I felt really, really good about it. It was one of my favorite bets of the year.
Lay games with Fritz there, like
what?
I kind of agree with you. I was never gonna lay games with Fritz.
Yeah.
But because playing the over here is basically playing a novel line, right?
Yeah.
So this was a contrarian play. We disagreed on this one. The Humbert money line. You got it right. Well done.
I mean, I think the catch manage fade is a little overstated. So like we know that with catch manage game, he's not going to be good on fast courts.
He does like these courts. He did play well here last year. He made quarters and played that probably.
And it was a bad loss to Wawrinka. Like I'm not saying that I was like high on Kecmanovic, but he's up against Hugo Humbert. And like I think when you're talking about putting guys on fade lists, and you know this, so I'm lecturing someone who already knows this, but you still have to look at like, okay, how much are we fading? Like Humbert, like Hugo Humbert, like you want to fade Kecmanovic that far against Hugo Humbert on a slow hard? Like that's not a spot for Hugo either.
I agree with you, but I think Humbert was playing slightly better tennis leading up. Slow court or not slow court, just playing more solid tennis. And
but at minus 110, like if you find it like if you were to tell me that you took Humbert like plus 120, plus 130, I would say yeah. I just don't think I don't know. I thought that and I wasn't even that right on it, right? Like, this was a super tight match. We probably should have both just stayed away, to be honest.
What was it? 6-7-6 in the third?
Yeah. It was 6-4, 6-7, 7-6. Like, it wasn't terrible. Like I actually modeled this match out. I have an Excel modeler and I modeled this match out to see what, like, given how the match played, like what the win probability in my mind should have been. And it was like 55% for Kecmanovic. So it was like good, I guess, at -110, but barely. But like he's just not like.
So I don't know if you think about this, but like I think about it also. Like Kecmanovic made quarters here last year, so he has a lot of points to defend, and he's probably feeling that added pressure. You don't necessarily.
It's the other way. The guy needs. If anything, I think it goes the other way. That he has to win, and he's more motivated. Like he's not going to be like out in the clubs the night before because he knows. I also think you have to look at too, like, what do those points mean? So like, if he has a lot of points to defend, but it's going to drop from 32 to 40, who cares? Like 32 and 42 don't materially affect his career, right? Whereas like if he's like Jack Sock in Paris the 1 year, he's going from like 40 to like 120,
right?
Like then but then I think it's a motivator because like then the guy he's playing for his career.
Fair.
So
fair. I honestly, Kecmanovic last year against Alcaraz in that quarterfinal, like he was playing top 5 tennis in that match. That was an insane tennis match.
Yeah, I mean, Kecmanovic's capable of good stuff. Like I said, right now, I don't think he's like. I'm still not like. I'm not like impressed with the win over Hugo Humbert, but like,
yeah,
this is. I just thought like again, and it's the same thing about the Popyrin and VDZ line. Like, this doesn't mean that I'm still not like fading VDZ. It's just like VDZ out there against Popyrin was terrible. So we can talk about VDZ now. Like, I mean, he was like double faulting, like walking around the court, like moping, like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah.
And then luckily Popyrin would give him back an error on break point to like let him hang around in the match, and then he ran out of gas in the third, I think. But I watched the first 2 sets and I didn't get a chance to watch the third. But but yeah, it's just like VDZ is. I'm not any higher on VDC. I just think like you're talking about like, is he better than Popyrin on a slow hard? Like not in Australia.
To be honest, like if Popyrin is firing in all cylinders and playing, well, I actually think VDZ is underpowered in that match.
100% agree with you on that. Like this wasn't. We texted about this several times. Like this wasn't. Poppy can't win this.
Yeah,
it was just like just remember, Poppy can go off the rails.
Off the rails, right?
Which he kind of did on some key points. Like honestly, it was a terrible match. Like it was both guys just trying to give the other guy the match.
I mean, honestly, both of these matches, we both should have stayed away. 100%.
Yeah,
you got the right end of it.
But I just got lucky. I 100% agree. I just won 2 points. 100%.
And then
100%.
Kecmanovic, I think maybe I was like a little bit prisoner of the moment of what happened in Indian Wells. Like I was heavy on him against Wawrinka in that match.
Yeah.
To see him just run out of steam after one set is just like, what are you doing? And then like you're playing this on like a hot Miami day and during the day, like I was like, it's not gonna go well for him. But I get what you're saying on both of these guys.
It's just depressing. Also, like I like look. We talked to your fade list. Like, yeah, I agree. They're both fades, but like then you see like the book in the line, and you're like, well, I can't fade this.
True.
So I was just like depressed myself about those lines because I was like, really, like I want to fade VDZ, and then I come out and it's like -110, and you're like, what? And you're like VDZ, and you're gonna fade him, and he's up against Poppy, and it's like. A coin flip, and you're like, really? Like, can't you put Poppy at like +200 so I can like have some fun and bet on him? But no.
Yeah. Well, honestly, this day, the first day of round 2, where so many guys on my fade list were playing,
and they all did pretty well.
They all did pretty well. It wasn't.
But they didn't play particularly well. It was just like, honestly, it was just all the guys they were playing were like equally bad fades, and I guess that's kind of my overall takeaway for this from you. Like my and not that I'm a particularly great bettor, but my advice, like, it's easy to be like, I hate this guy, I want to fade this guy, but like they were all three, like if you look at Nakashima, VDZ, Kecmanovic, and Schwartzman, they were all up against equally fadeable dudes.
Shapovalov
as well was up against an equally fadeable. I'm saying not Shapo, Schwartzman. Schwartzman's on your fade list too, right?
Yeah.
So Schwartzman, Kecmanovic, VDZ, Shapo, you can throw in those round 2, I guess, also. all four of those guys were all up against guys who were like equally fadeable. Not that I didn't like your bet on Schwartzman. I thought that was fine, but the other three were like, I mean,
Yeah, maybe I was a little bit too confident in my fade list and probably should have factored in price slightly more.
yeah, it's just like, but it's also just depressing. It just shows you how good the books are too, man. Like they're not letting you get away with this stuff.
I know. Well, let's go from a couple bad bets to a good bet. I thought this was a fantastic bet. ADF minus 1.5 games against Nakashima at minus 125.
So I hit this at minus a set and a half at plus 165, and I got lucky. But I don't feel bad about it because like at plus 165, I'm fine with getting a little bit of luck after an ADF choke.
Well, so Nakashima, he is what we think he is, and ADF is way above him in terms of athletic
But
ability.
he's also who we think he is. He's a complete choke artist.
He is, but he's actually playing good tennis. Like his last, I
He
think his
is,
last
but he's
three
like a
losses
choke
were
artist
against
/ battler.
guys.
Like he's completely got the battling part down. He's just a choke artist, and his tactics are terrible. Like
Right.
it's a weird thing. You can talk about a guy being like good or bad mentally. Like there's guys who are good battlers, but in tight, they get tight. Yada, they go.
Yeah.
They're boosters, right? Like there's
Right.
which is why we have an award for them. There's boosters. There's and then but on the other hand, there's like Curioses or like Bublix even who are like actually like decent in clutch moments.
Yeah.
But they're just like sometimes they just don't want to be there.
Right.
Like Kyrgios is probably the purest example of that.
I just think this matchup, the athletic gap is so
It was
wide.
massive.
It's
Massive.
huge. It's absolutely
Massive.
huge. And Nakashima hasn't been great this year. He's okay.
He's who we think he is. He's a guy who's like borderline top 50.
Right.
I can't believe that I got like a future on him to be like top 25 by end of year.
No.
Like he's not anywhere close.
No, he's not anywhere close to that. Yeah. Lajovic, Cressy. Lajovic is actually playing quite well right now. And Cressy,
is he? Like what makes you say that he's playing quite well?
I was impressed by that Rio run and pushing Alcaraz there. That was a decent tournament. I thought he had a pretty good golden swing.
Well, I mean, he's a clay guy, right? He's a clay specialist.
But I also thought the win versus Murray, maybe I'm putting too much stock into wins against Murray.
Well, I actually don't hate this bet for a different reason. The reason I didn't hate this bet was like this just isn't a good, like anything that's slow and outdoors is not good for Cressy. And anything that is wind also. Like I feel like Cressy's a guy like you want to check the wind forecast beforehand because like wind is a major problem for him because he also has the 2 first serve strategy.
Oh, the 2 first serve, it's he goes overboard with it, like it's like every time now. And especially
in like if you want to do that on indoor courts, I guess.
Yeah, right.
But doing that outdoor and you have like wind and sun and all these factors seems just not like a good idea.
It's just not a good idea. It's just not a good idea. I totally agree. And
I get it. It probably doesn't hurt him that much. Because like the rest of his game's not that good either, and like really all he does.
But he's getting broken quite a bit now, because he's doing it on slower courts and like. I said
this in the preseason pod or I just don't think Cressy's that good.
Like he probably feels like that's the only way he can win points.
That's what I mean, and like I just don't think he's. I think he's like I think he's actually like a borderline top 50 player. He's slightly above the Kubler line.
And he needs really favorable conditions. Otherwise, it's going to be trouble.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I thought, I bet actually Lajovic money line and over 25.5 at plus 350.
No, I like the bet, Manny. I like the bet. You know what I mean? I honestly do. I think this was a good bet. It just didn't cash, but I thought it was a good bet.
Because I thought Lajovic I should have bet Lajovic money line here as an underdog. I think that would have been the right play. But like, you just think Cressy and you think over on games, right? Because like he's still going to hold serve and like Lajovic is not.
He did. I mean,
Lajovic is not that great of a returner, right? So I thought, but the thing is, like Cressy got broken quite a bit. Like, I don't know. Do you think that match was more bad Cressy and good Lajovic, or the other way around?
So I didn't see it, but like,
Okay.
I mean, I just can't imagine. Like, I don't know. I'm just really low on Cressy. Like, I don't think he's that. Like, he's not. I mean, like, but he's also he is a spot guy. Like indoors,
Yeah.
fast. Those are the two things that matter with him. And then weather conditions. You have to see if there's wind or sun or potential rain. It's going to be a problem because he's so aggressive. There's no room for error.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, in Australia, he lost straight sets to Rune, like easily, and got broken in multiple times in multiple sets. So, yeah. I mean, maybe just outdoors in general is just bad for him. Fujovic, Rune, this was a painful loss, actually. I needed a tiebreak in the second set, and Rune broke at 5-all. So that was a tough loss, but I don't necessarily regret the bet. Ivashka, Rude, plus 1.5 sets. This was just, I don't necessarily think it was a bad bet. It was just like too hard, just fading Rude too hard. Like, I got to be careful with that.
What was the score here?
It's like 2-2, 2-3.
Okay, he beat
Ivashka pretty bad. Like, I got to be careful with Rude. I think he's gonna try to turn the corner at some point. Like, he's too good to keep up this horrible form. You know?
Yeah. Well, did I not say that on your fade list 2 weeks ago?
You did talk about that. I'm starting to see him turn it around now, and I didn't think about it. Did you bet this match?
I don't think I did. Trying to go back and see. I doubt it. That feels like a match I would have stayed away from. Yeah, I just stayed away entirely. Like,
stayed away entirely.
Yeah, I'm pretty into the stay away from Rude entirely right now because, like, he still hasn't shown us anything that he's back. But, like, at some point, it's gonna happen. Like, I'm convinced that he still has good tennis in him. Like, I think it's this whole, like, he wore himself down too much last year. He couldn't take his offseason in Jan, so he had to take it in Feb. And now he's, like, playing his way back into shape, and he's using this part. Honestly, I think he's pulling the Tsitsipas. He's just not talking about it. Where he's using this part of the season to, like, prep for the clay.
Yeah.
Which is his best surface.
Yeah, I in this bet, for example, I thought Ivashka was good enough to win a set. Like, he took a set off Medvedev in the finals,
Yeah, I get it. I don't know that I like the price here of minus 135.
Okay, fair.
I like plus 105 a lot better.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, Rude is playing, I think, VDZ in the next round, and I'm curious to see what you have to say about that, because I'm actually thinking about going Rude. I really think he's starting to turn a corner now.
Okay.
So now I think this is a good place to, end part 1 of round 2. Taro Daniel put a beat down on Zverev.
Yeah, but I heard that Zverev was getting, like, insulin during the match. I think this was, like, a weird one-off with Zverev. Like, I think this was, I don't know what was going on here.
I mean, he's a type 1 diabetic. I mean, he just maybe, felt like he needed a boost of energy or something.
That's something. I feel like there was something. I feel like this was more Zverev. I mean, I know you said you watched it and Taro was playing amazing.
Yeah.
But I also feel like this is also probably just a weird Zverev thing. Like a weird Zverev moment.
Okay, so you're not taking much stock into this.
I'm not.
So
honestly, we can talk Taro Daniel when we get into round 3, but I'm not too excited about. I mean, he's done some good stuff. I'm not, like, unexcited, but I'm not super excited about him yet either.
If Zverev was low on energy and played a crap match in probably one of his preferred surfaces, a night match, I don't really think this gives him much promise for clay, to be honest.
I don't know that I care. I mean, like, this could be an instance of like I was out in the clubs in Miami too late. Like I didn't like could be like I just don't care and I want to go back to Europe and play clay. Like, like I it's only one match. So I'm gonna give him a little. I mean, I'm not saying that he's old top 10 Alexander Zverev, but
this
like
was a big match for him. It's not like it's
this Taro Daniel in round 2 of Miami is a big match for him.
No, but he's working his way back to form, and this is a place where he wants to do well. He's won this tournament before in Miami. Like, this is not a match he's just trying to throw away. He just, came out and got bageled by Taro Daniel. Like, I don't
maybe you're right. Maybe he just didn't have energy for some reason, but like to
me, would make Zverev, like, he was a slight fade guy. Now he's back on my hard fade because his forehand is such a liability now. If you attack the forehand, he can't make 3 balls in a row on the forehand.
But his backhand is world class.
Backhand is world class. I don't disagree. But also, he's getting punished on the second serve. So anyone that punishes the second serve, we saw that with Huesler in Davis Cup.
I mean, it was comical.
It was comical, exactly. And then like Medvedev actually didn't play the best tactical match in Indian Wells. Like, I don't feel like he was too content going cross court with him backhand to backhand, which Zverev loves. And I don't think he does a good job of attacking second serves because he loves playing so far back. So I actually think Medvedev is a good matchup for Zverev. So, but if you play with the right tactics against Zverev, you attack the forehand, which Daniel did a great job of, and you attack that second serve, he has no shot. And it's such glaring weaknesses that if players adjust to that, I think he's going to really have a hard time.
I hear you. I think like, so the interesting part of this, right, is like, he's a guy who actually might be able to fade. Like, if you want to hard fade him, you can actually probably make some money. Whereas we just talked about like half your, again, it's not to bash you. It's more of like an overall statement. Like, you had the fade list before, but half of those guys on that fade list, the books are clearly like up on.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, they're, and when we talked about before, I catch managers,
right.
BDZ, like, they're not getting the respect they were once getting. Yeah. Right? Here's an example of a guy where you actually, like, if you think he's a hard fade, then like, you should go with it because you probably will get some good values.
Yeah, I mean, he was a favorite against Rublev in Dubai. So obviously the books are giving him some respect. Like, I don't necessarily see it yet. I just,
like, if you want to make money, you have to find these like sneaky fades, right? These like sneaky spots, like this sneaky Montero over. Like, so I disagree, but that's why it's if you're right, then this is why it's good.
Did you bet this match?
No, I stayed away from that completely. I think I stayed away from Taro and Zverev completely. Like, I still like. I'm still not really high on Taro, but I didn't love the matchup for Zverev. I didn't love the line. Like, I'm much more of a stay away guy than you. So
you are. I was pro Daniel here. I bet the over 2.5 sets. I just wasn't this pro Daniel.
Well, and like I said, I don't think like. I think if Zverev has energy, he's able to take that to 3. Like,
yeah, I guess. Daniel played a hell of a match, and Daniel's playing well. He's playing.
Yeah. We'll talk a little more about him. I'm sure when we get to round 3.
And then I didn't include today's matches on the spreadsheet, so I guess let's go to you because did you add?
Yeah, I included all I'm up to date.
Didn't okay.
I haven't even had my round 3 stuff on there. But we'll go back to round 2. So. Kind of just a funny concept. So I can start off with my bet that my bet of Bagnis +7 versus Alcaraz that we disagreed on. Yeah. This probably wasn't a good bet in retrospect. Like, it's just such a mismatch. Like, I don't think it would have been smart the other way, but like, there's just no reason to bet this.
I would bet this like not after Alcaraz won Indian Wells. Like, now he's flowing with confidence. You see the massive smile on his face, signing on.
Yeah, I was just I was just looking at it like it's like Alcaraz does have a tendency to Alcaraz does have a tendency to struggle in opening rounds of matches. And I think it's still because he's still a little erratic. His tactics still need some improvement. And so, like, when he kind of tends to still need to play with way into tournaments a little bit, If you look at his previous matches, you'd see that indication. Like I had said, like he hadn't in like his last 15 round one openers, he hadn't covered a 7 spread. So that's why I did this. That said, I think this spread was really well set by the book, and I think that like there's just no reason to bet this. And in general, like trying to guess like these like long lines when you're up against the juice is just like it's probably a fool's errand.
Yeah. So, like for example, we were talking about I placed Jerez plus 6.5 against Sinner. So I think that the gap between those two guys is way smaller than the gap between Alcaraz and Bagnis.
I don't think it matters once you get the spreads this huge. Like the difference between like 6 and 8 is like because you're talking about like we talked about this before. Like these guys aren't trying to win by 7 games. Like they don't care about the spread. They don't care about making you money.
Okay.
Right? Like
sure.
So like that's why I think like and we've talked about this in the past, but yet we still continue to do it, like dip into these like long odd spread, like these long spreads. I just think it's like really
But like discussing the gap between the players, I think that's the only kind of way you can quantify that, right? You can, because otherwise how do you quantify whether a spread should be +7 or +6.5 or +5? Like you're talking about gap between.
So I wouldn't put 5. I think once you get to 5s, we can start taking these guys. For me, it's like once you get like +6 or bigger. But then again, I had success doing with ADF, so I don't know. I've got to go back and see how I did, but it just feels like with these like +6 to +8 spreads in a 2-set match, or like these +10, +11s in like a 5-setter, like you're just like you're betting on how much the guy wants to win and like how the guy comes out the first. If the guy comes out the first couple games for whatever reason is a little bit, it's like a tad off, like not even for the match, just for like 2-3 games or 4 games or whatever, like it could be 2-all, and then you're really in trouble. And so like it just feels to me to be like and so I actually modeled this matchup too because I was kind of interested. So Alcaraz won 2/3 of the points, which sounds ridiculous, but like that only means you should usually win 2-2. So it means like so I guess in that case the right spread was 7.5, not 7. But like that's the point, right? Like it's like even with a gap that massive, like it's just it's the difference between like it's you're trying to balance such thin margins, and like we're always betting on thin margins, right? We're literally always betting on like 2 or 3 points out of 50. But in this case, we're betting out of 3 points out of 50 when like we don't know, like when one guy doesn't really need the points and neither does the other. Like one guy doesn't need the points and the other guy really has no hope anyways. So like I don't know, and you're laying 10% on that vig every time. Like I don't know, you want to do that?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
That was my thought there.
We talked about Pela, Chapo, Paul -4.5. I thought that was a well set line, so I actually stayed away from that one.
There's just a pure fade on Husler. Like Husler's been so bad lately, but you're right, 4.5's a lot.
It's a lot.
But I thought Paul could actually like dominate here, like because like Paul can dominate. Like if Paul's and this matchup seemed like it was so good for Paul. Like on a slow court, just run around and get 4 balls back and wait for Husler to miss. Like, well, I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this, so I can't really comment. Did Husler play well?
I didn't see it either. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think particularly. The stats didn't look particularly good.
Yeah. And
Paul got there in the end. I think he just didn't cover. Like I think Paul won by like 3 or something. He just didn't cover.
Okay.
We talked Fokina, VDZ, Kecmanovic.
Yeah, that's we can get into today, right?
So,
a crazy day today that we had.
Had a good day today. Lecce Musetti. This was a pure fade on Musetti. I'm still not high on the. I am high on Lechka. He's still like my weird like over here bucket of like not sure what he's doing yet. But like, and this match they didn't change that. There's just a pure like I saw this and I was like, I'm staying away. No, Musetti, really?
Yeah.
And it's 3.5. I get to play a guy who like has occasionally shown competence. 3.5 against Musetti. Like I guess I have
like
to.
Crap on his preferred surface in the Golden Swing. barely won a match.
In his last 5 matches, he hasn't gotten to 5 games in a set. Now
know.
6.
I know. He's been awful.
Like, he might be playing through injury. I don't know what's up, but he just looks awful.
He looks awful. I agree. I mean,
I was amazed actually that he's only getting 3.5 from Lehechka in this.
Yeah.
Because like he's just been awful.
And it was the right spread, really.
It was. I mean, it was 4-4.
4-4.
But I still like. So this is a weird one. Like, yeah, we got there by half a game, but like Lehechka did break, and he did break twice. I don't know. I think he faced 1 break point the entire match. Like, he was the better player.
Mm-hmm.
And like
it was a sweat. It wasn't easy money.
It was a sweat in the sense that I was terrified Lehechka was going to, like, for some dumb reason, give the break back. But it really wasn't, because he never did. And he was never under, like, serious threat to.
Right.
Like, the 1 break point was early, and once he held that, he basically cruised on serve the rest of the match. Like, so it was I don't know.
Yeah, I saw that. And just based on Musetti's poor form, I mean, I thought that line should have been 4.5.
Yeah. At 4.5, I wouldn't have touched it.
away.
Even at 4, I probably wouldn't have touched it.
Yeah.
Lost on Kovacevic over 2.5 sets. This was kind of close. Sundo's the better player by a pretty good margin. I think he was constantly making inroads into Kovacevic's serve, and Kovacevic was, not making too many inroads into Sundo's serve. Yeah, I think he did get 1 break in each set, but
I thought that was a good bet at plus money. I played the over on games, which didn't hit either. Over 22.5, but I mean,
so I have the same thought as you. My only difference here is I thought if you're going to play the over on games, you may as well play the over on sets.
Yeah.
Montero. This was a great bet. Like, I can't believe that Montero was +5 here. Like, this should have been like +3, 3.5. Like, FA is so bad at covering big spreads.
Yeah.
And Montero's game is like perfectly designed to cover big spreads. Like,
I played the over on games here, but whatever way you play
it's the same thing.
Yeah. The over under was 20.5. That's, you get 1 5-game set.
Which Montero's the master at, right? He does it 90% of the time.
I know. So any way you play that was fantastic. Hurkacz Kokkinakis over 22.5. That was easy money. But that was
easy money.
The only bet in that match, which was sweat free, because everything else in that match was a total sweat.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
In terms of like if you bet Kokkinakis money line, like you deserve a good, like a gift basket or something, because that's painful, man. I don't know what's more painful, that or Paul FAA last week in Indian Wells.
But I can't believe that this was only 22.5. Like, these are 2 pure over guys.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Like, I thought this should have been at least a full game higher, which makes a big difference here. Like, 22.5 and 23.5 are very different.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Nuki played the match of his life against Foe.
You put Watnuki.
Oh, it's Siapo -4 versus Watnuki. Yes, I flipped it. I switched it. Yeah, and you put a -125 in there. We blew that.
Yeah,
but Watnuki just played so well. Like, there was no reason to believe he was going to play that well. I don't have any takeaways from that match. Just like,
yeah, it's not a bad bet on paper, and then based on how Watnuki played against Benoit Paire, I mean that doesn't, like.
I mean, not just Benoit Paire, right? So if we look at Watnuki, if you pull up Watnuki's matches, there's nothing that tells you he's an ATP level player. He's clearly a pure challenger guy. Like, we can look at his matches. Like, all right, so we get a close one over Paire. We get a close one over O'Connell. We lose a set to Blocks, who's 943 in the world. I have no idea who that Blocks guy is.
Yeah, lost to.
We lose to Nathan Ponwith.
Yeah.
We lose to Shang. We lose to Goyo. Like, if we beat Kudla in 3, like, you look at these matches, like, there's nothing that tells you that Watnuki is any type of, like, ATP level player.
Yeah, he's a good challenger level player, right?
He's a really good challenger player, yeah.
Yeah.
And then he comes out and plays an amazing match against Tiafoe, and he's just ripping winners left and right. Like I
Yeah.
saw at some point in the middle of the second set, he had like 20 winners and like 5 errors.
Crazy. Yeah.
Like,
Yep. Yeah. No.
I mean, Tiafoe even said during the match, "This is top 5 level stuff." He was complaining to the ump, and I think he was honestly getting into Watanuki's head. I think he was trying to get into Watanuki's. I don't think he did, but he was trying to get in Watanuki's head, basically talking to him, being like, "This is top 5 stuff. Like, I don't know how you're doing this. I've never seen this out of him before." Like,
yeah, a little bit childish from Tiafoe, but I mean, he chucked a racket across the net, which wasn't really nice to see. But
I way prefer chucking the racket on your own side of the net.
I agree. I agree.
Or
just not chucking it at all would be
I'm fine with chucking on your own side of it. I just don't like the idea of like, I don't know, like the net's supposed to be something that like separates the players, right? Like the only time you should be crossing the net, there's 2 reasons to cross the net. Changeovers, and if you're running down like a wide angle drop shot and you have to run past the net because like you're trying to run a ball down.
Right.
Other than that, there's no reason that there should be any crossing of the net of any object at any time except for hitting the tennis ball.
Yep. Yeah.
But
I mean, it keeps your futures alive, right? Your Tiafoe futures to win the
my
tournament.
40-1 Tiafoe futures, yeah. And I don't feel any worse, but like I'm not taking anything away from this match.
No.
I think this is just like, I mean, look, like occasionally guys play really good, right? Like all of these guys, like this. Here's the lesson from this: we like make a lot of fun of these guys. All of these guys are mad good at tennis, and they're all capable of playing really good tennis at any time.
Yeah.
And we've seen it, right? Like we talk about almost all of these guys. Like I'd say 3/4 of the guys we've talked about are capable of playing great tennis at some time. Machak, right? Another like challenge level guy.
Right. Against
Djokovic, who played the greatest player of all time and took him to 3 crazy, tight sets and like played amazing.
Right.
Right? Like I mean, all these guys are good enough to redline. They're not like there's outside of maybe the occasional guy that gets a wild card. There's no guy out here who's like who's not a professional level player.
Right. Yeah. No, I hear what you're saying. And yeah, I mean the thing about like the challenger level guys is like they can't like maintain that level, right? And then B, mentally, there's a mental gap typically, right?
And like sometimes they come out and play terrible.
Right.
Right? Like sometimes like usually it's just a matter of consistency. And the mental piece and tactics and like a lot of things.
Their base level is not necessarily as high. Their peak level might be just as high.
Yeah,
but you don't reach
but
that
their base,
peak.
exactly.
Their base.
And when they're not playing well, it goes completely off the rails.
Right.
See Nava.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So then
let's talk a little bit about some of these other matches. So these are actually because these have some good things to talk about. So Mannarino Shelton. So I mean, and again, do we think the Shelton hype is getting a little like
getting a little bit out of proportion? I agree.
Not in terms of career, but I think the Shelton hype's gone a little bit far in terms of where he is right now.
I agree. Mannarino, especially in that 3rd set, exposed him from the baseline. Like he was.
Well, he's just not consistent enough, right? Like he's got big game. He's got all the tools, but not consistent enough yet.
Yeah. Right.
His movement is like he's really fast, but his actual movement his like movement isn't very efficient. It feels like.
Efficient. I agree with that. Yeah.
And it's probably part of why he's such an energy guy. Right? Yeah. So when he's flowing and feeling the energy, the movement gets a little better, it gets a little quicker, it gets a little bit, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden he's playing great. When he gets a little down, all of a sudden the movement's like not quite as efficient, and all of a sudden it goes it goes awry. But like, yeah, I think that, and the books, I don't know, the books are
I think that's why he lost to Mannarino today, because Mannarino is the king of efficient movement, right? He's not nearly
fast.
Huh?
He's not fast.
No, he's not.
He's honestly not particularly good.
He's not nearly the athlete Shelton is. He's not
particularly good at anything. He's not particularly really good at the game of tennis.
I would certainly disagree with that, but like he does a lot of like quirky things, and he takes the ball so early, and that was getting to Shelton. You know?
Well, that's my point, right? Like that's the reason why it's a joke, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But like his strokes and his ball striking, like his timing's pretty good. Obviously, is to stand up in front on the baseline and play his style of game. And he's got a and his game fits very well together. Like he stands up close and he's got that compact swing off both wings, hits the ball flat, which is annoying. Like, but his whole game, but like his strokes aren't particularly good. Like ball quality isn't particularly good. It's
Well,
just
he uses your pace, right? So Shelton has a lot of pace off the ground and the serve.
Yep.
But he was just blocking those balls back
and just redirecting, right? That's what I'm saying. Like
it early,
and his whole game fits together, right? Like he just blocks, he just redirects, blocks, but he stands up close, so he's always taking time away.
Yeah.
And he gets away with it because he's so compact off both sides.
Right. No, Monterino is a tough customer, and he's actually an underrated competitor as well.
He is. And then again, that's the joke. That's why I say like that's why I said like it's not that he's like not a winning tennis player, but that was my joke by him being not a particularly good player. Like he's not somebody who like when you're watching, you're like, ooh man, like that guy's gonna be top 20 one day.
Right. No.
Like not just because of age, but like he's like, but he's really smart. Game fits together. He competes. Like he's got the other parts of the game so well down that like he gets away with actually being slightly worse from like a pure physical stroke
he's
standpoint.
To me between top 30 and top 45. Like he's in that range right now.
His ranking's getting up there. I've always thought of him as being worse, but I think you might be right.
Yeah.
The problem is you get him to other surfaces that aren't hard court and he's in real trouble. He's kind of okay on grass. Clay's a disaster because like that whole like stand up close.
Yeah, it doesn't work on clay.
Doesn't work with the high bounce.
You saw more of this match than I did. McDonald.
Yeah, so let's talk to Mackenzie McDonald, man. Like Mackey's been really good this year. He's 13-8 on the year. His ELO's up in the 40 range. Mm-hmm. So I put this on the Twitter and I wanted to ask you, like, is he top 30 in the world now?
Let me see. Let me look at guys that are ranked in that area. So if you pull up
the ATP rankings,
yeah. Okay, let's go with the live rankings. I think that's better.
You can go with the live rankings. Just make sure it's a 52-week ranking.
I mean, Dan Evans, Van de Zandschulp, Baez, Nishioka, Griekspoor, Schwartzman, Cressy, Cerundolo, Shelton, Kecmanovic, Lechka. That's 30 to 40. I wouldn't put him ahead of Griekspoor. I probably still wouldn't put him ahead of Shelton. But Shelton slightly ahead. Lechka slightly ahead. Gasquet is 41. Nakashima 43.
He's ahead of those guys.
Definitely ahead of Nakashima. He beat him.
I put him ahead of Gasquet too.
Right? Yeah, probably Gasquet too. So I would put him in I would say the 35 to 40 range. That's where.
Yeah, but then you got to think he's better than Coric too, right? He's better than a couple of guys in the top 30 still.
I agree, but the rankings is not a true accurate depiction of who's playing well now and who's not.
I agree. Oh. I mean, I don't know. So if you take like a McDonald, so McDonald's 13-7 on the year. His losses,
well, if you take the race to Turin, he's 26. He's right below Kokkinakis and right ahead of Dimitrov. He's like,
which again, because that's a really small sample, so that's why I was saying but like, so I'm looking at here's his losses this year. He's got 2 to Yoshi, in Australia, and one of them was when he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then and that's when Yoshi was playing pretty well still.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the Australian Open was when he was hurt. The one in Adelaide is when he was, still playing decent. He's got 1 to Emer, which is really his only bad loss of the year. he lost to Tiafoe in Dallas, which is fine. Tiafoe's a good player. Lost to Fritz in Delray Beach. Again, like, he's a good player. And then Tommy Paul and Rune. So, like, yeah, I'm not arguing he's top 20. He's not. But, like,
He's not. Yeah.
and I don't even know if he's top 30, but I was being a little provocative there, but he's close. I never would have thought that I would be saying that McDonald's like like 6 months ago or 3 months ago we were trashing McDonald every chance we got, and like he's playing really well.
So you watched more of this match than I did. How much of this match against Berrettini is good McDonald and bad Berrettini, or the other way around?
I think McDonald's playing way better tactically than he ever has.
Okay.
Like his game hasn't changed that much. He's just playing better. He's just playing smarter tennis. Like he did a really good job today of getting to Berrettini's backhand, which like a lot of players don't do. And like everybody knows Berrettini has no backhand, but still like a lot of guys for some reason can't get to it. McDonald was able to get to Berrettini's backhand.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, and then
I
I just think he's
physically though. Do you feel like Berrettini is like a fade guy right now, or do you think he's
I still
slowly
think
getting it back?
So I just said all that positive about McDonald, like Mackey, like
Yeah.
Berrettini should not be losing to Mackey. Like Berrettini's
Right.
been a top 10 guy. He's but I mean, like, I don't know, man. Mackey's looked really good this year. Like, and I think, like, again, like we were talking about this, like, you need these sneaky guys. If you're gonna make money, you need these sneaky guys. And I still think like McDonald's a guy who's like people aren't recognizing he's pretty close to top 30. And so you might be able to bet him that way and make money. I'm
definitely gonna have to consider it because like I was never high on McDonald, never high on McDonald in the past.
I wasn't either. We've both trashed him in the past 3 months.
I know we have, and we may have to revise that. Do you like so just between McDonald and Shelton, like who do you rank as a higher player right now? It's pretty close, right?
Really close, yeah, really close. But I mean, this is but look, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you put this match on a book right now, do you think that's a coin flip match? I think it's a coin flip match in terms of the tennis. But if that match is happening tomorrow, is that like the odds? I don't think you're going to get I don't think it's going to be a coin flip. I think it's going to be like I think you'll get like at least plus 130, 140 on Mackey, if not better.
Probably.
So like, I mean, look, you got plus 190 versus a terrible Berrettini today. So clearly the books don't love Mackey yet.
They don't. So yeah, I agree. He might be a sneaky guy you want to go after.
Now the problem is you only got one more match to do it before we go to Clay. And I don't know if he can keep it up through Clay.
I mean, he made third round of the French last year. It's not like I feel like
but his game
is going to be better on Clay than
he's got that flat. He's got that flat. He's kind of like Mannarino. Like he's not as unorthodox as Mannarino, I agree. But like directionally, he's kind of like if anybody's kind of like Mannarino, it's Mackey.
He's a better athlete than Mannarino, though.
He is, but he's standing up on the baseline, taking balls early despite limited power. Like, but yeah, I really like what Mackey's doing. So I kind of wanted to mention. I wanted to talk a little about him because he's been really good.
Yeah, no, he's been good. He's been good. That was a good win. Solid.
Evan's still terrible.
I bet McDonald Berrettini over 2.5 sets, and like that was a painful loss because Berrettini had a bunch of set points. So I don't dislike the bet. It's just didn't cash.
Yeah.
This was a good play though. Money line. Sonego against Evans. This was an ugly match.
It was just an ugly match. Sonego just played terrible for a second.
But Evans is really bad. He's terrible.
But my opinion of Evans hasn't changed at all. He's still his guy to fade.
Absolutely. Baez on hard.
The only lesson there is like betting, and it's the same thing as team. Like betting Sonego, like I think with Sonego, you just bet money lines from here forward. He's just too erratic to like believe he's going to win like 2 sets of tennis in a row.
Yeah.
It's not that he can't, but like, man, unless you're getting that as like a big dog, Like better than I want better than plus 130 because like he's just so erratic, man.
I think he's mentally tougher than Chapo,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. He's just erratic, but he's not like mentally erratic. It's more just like his shots are erratic, and he
Yeah.
makes some bad tactical decisions. But he's a hell of a shot maker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
Um,
Sonigo, ADF, and Chapo are kind of in the same category, right? They're all like similar players in a way, right?
yes,
And I actually think all three of them are pretty good over guys. I actually think Sonigo is a pretty
I
decent.
think Sonigo's the worst of them in terms of being an over
I
guy,
agree. I'd agree with that.
and I think ADF's a sneaky over guy,
Mm-hmm.
and I think Sonigo's like a slightly sneaky over guy. Everybody and their brothers talking about, but honestly, like the books haven't changed their mind on Chapo, so it's kind of amazing.
It is. It is. To get plus 380 on any opponent, any Chapo opponent, I would take.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing that the books still haven't changed their mind there yet.
Yeah. Alice Demonor under 22 and a half. That was way over. Way over.
But Demonor served for 22.
That's true. That's a good point.
Garen, I want to talk a little about Garen Baez. We talked about Baez, but like Baez is not, it doesn't matter the speed of the hardcore, man. He just does not like it's amazing how his movement is so in tune to clay.
Mm-hmm.
And on hard, he suddenly like doesn't move. Like he's like a below average to below average mover on hard versus like an elite insane mover on clay.
Right.
And he's got nothing else. So he has no chance on like hardcore.
No chance. No chance.
And it doesn't matter the speed because it's not a court speed issue. It's his movement is terrible on any hard court.
I'd agree with that. I mean, the first set was close, but like Garen was clearly the better player.
But it wasn't that close. Like it was a tie break, but I want to pull up the stats from this first set. So because I was actually looking at this because I was kind of like, oh, did I make a bad bet? But Garen in the first set.
Sure, there were
53 to 44 in points.
Yeah, that's a sizable difference.
And he was 56 to 44. Or sorry, 46% of return points won versus 34%. If you have that gap, you're gonna win like 85, 90% of sets.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it was just like every game, Baez would have like a crazy long deuce game. Garen would not be able to convert, and then for the most part, he would easily hold the one time he got broken. But like, yeah, I mean, Garen was by far the better player here.
And he's been in decent form recently, Garen.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was surprised to see this 2-0 at plus money. Because like Baez is just so bad on hardcore.
I know. Anytime you get, plus money against Baez, you should take that.
Yeah, on hard.
Guys.
On clay, it's a completely different ballgame.
Totally different ballgame, but hardcourt, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had pretty much the same things as you, very, very similar today. The only one I had different was I bet the Echeverry Kachanov match hard. I was all over Etch in that match. I thought Etch, I was kind of high on him because he had a very good golden swing. He impressed me even though it was a 3-set loss to Murray, which I probably shouldn't be as impressed by as I say I am.
Everybody loses. Everybody plays 3 sets with Murray.
That's true. And then he had a 2-2 win against Kotopes. I think Etch is kind of improving. He's more established on the main tour. I don't view him as just like a pure clay quarter. I think he's better on hard. Plus, it's not that I'm fading Kachanov by any means, but Kachanov only had 1 win since the Australian Open.
Yeah, but that's completely fictitious because he barely played, right? So if we look at Kachanov since the Australian Open, right, I'm going to give you the match.
But I wasn't necessarily impressed by his recent wins. or his recent win in like Indian Wells, and then he
No,
lost.
but he
Lost
took
to
a month
VDZ
off.
in Dubai.
That's after a month off. I don't care.
Okay.
He beat Oat. Oat sucks. I don't care. He lost to ADF in a tight 3 setter. ADF's a good player. That's not a terrible loss. Like, I stayed away from this. I thought the line was really well. I thought all the lines here were really well set. I like Etch as a player too. I think he's like I'm thinking of him as like a borderline top 50 guy right now. Etch,
I agree with you.
but Kachanov is still a top 20 guy in my mind.
Okay. I mean, I was going more based on Etch's like recent recent form and improving confidence.
But like even with all that, I'm saying right now as we talk today, I'm saying he's a borderline. He's somewhere in the 40s, low 40s. I think as we talk today, Kachanov is in the top 20.
Okay, that's fair. But is Kachanov playing top? Like you're saying today, Kachanov is top 20?
I am betting Kachanov today as if he's a top 20 player.
Okay.
I stayed away because he's played so little since Australia because he took a month off. Played terrible, lost to VDZ, terrible. I agree. But again, that's after a month off. So, like, and it's a travel spot. So, like, I'm not surprised. He needs a match to get back into form. Then he beat Oat. You can't take away anything from beating Oat because Oat's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
He loses to Fokina. That's not a bad loss. Like, that's fine. It was a tough 3 setter. It was a very even match. Like,
but don't you put some stock in someone that's match tough, battle tested, versus someone who's just kind of working his way back into form?
It leads me to stay away more than it leads me to bet the guy.
Okay, because I was more confident in betting Etch to win a set, which he did. I sprinkled some on the money line as well. Just
but what was that? That was minus money, right? Him to win a set? What was Etch to win a set?
Etch to win a set was minus 105. Which he did, but that's more because Kachanov is not battle tested right now and is working his way back. I think Kachanov is the better player. I agree. I also think Etch didn't do some things that he could have done a lot better. He didn't utilize the drop shot at all. I wish he did because I think that would have added another wrinkle, which could have swung the match more into Etch's favor. So I thought tactically he didn't really play a terrific match. He fought really hard in the second set after being down a break, which allowed him to get back into it. And he could have made the third set complicated, but like it was kind of just a ball striking battle. And I feel like if Etch kind of steered away a little less from that and tried to add some variation, I thought that could have troubled.
So I didn't watch the match. I was watching
the Hurkacz.
We were watching different matches, which is kind of good because we get different opinions on it.
Right.
I will say, like, it's very easy to overplay the drop shot, right? Like, I see a lot. You see plenty of guys do that too, right? So, but if you're saying you didn't play it at all,
because Kachanov likes when you blast balls from the baseline, and I thought, right?
Like, so does Etch, though. Etch is a great ball blaster.
Yeah. So, but I feel like Etch is more capable of adding variation more than Kachanov.
I agree. I agree.
Variation.
I agree, but I'm saying like it's very easy to overplay the drop shot. I'm not saying I'm not saying you shouldn't have played more. I'm not saying you shouldn't have played any. I'm saying as a general rule of thumb, it's very easy to overplay the drop shot.
Okay, I'd agree with that.
Like I said, I'm not surprised that like the minus. I'm not like particularly surprised the minus 105 of Etch to win a set came in. I thought the books had this. The books had this at catch -4, right? Was the spread, the game spread?
Yeah.
And I thought it was the exact right spread. Like, I actually wanted to bet this for Etch, but then the books didn't give Kachanov as much respect as I was hoping they would.
I saw plus 4.5 at minus 135.
Yeah, it's basically 4 though.
Oh, yeah. So I thought the set line was better. That's why I played the 1.5 plus 1.5 sets for Etch.
Yeah, like I said, I thought it was like a coin flip. I thought it was close to a coin flip. I didn't like, I
Yeah.
didn't the Etch plus 1.5 sets. I
I
didn't
like
like.
Etch's trajectory though. I think he's going in the right direction.
I agree. I just think Kachanov is I feel like as a general rule of thumb, there's some guys who have to go in this like over here bucket of like we just don't know what they are right at this moment, and I think Kachanov's in that bucket.
The thing with Kachanov is like I agree with you. I think he's top 20, but I view him as being pretty one-dimensional. And if you catch him on a bad day, you can win some money if you fade him.
But you got to catch him on a bad day.
Which happens, and he does lose sets, like because he's so one-dimensional.
He does have a tendency to
blows
lose sets.
you out.
It's interesting, but he's not like a 3 set. But he's not like a bet 3 sets on him guy.
Not necessarily.
And it feels like that happens more to win best of 5 than best of 3.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a clear over guy either, but like if he's playing a guy in good form, I feel like he can have some dips where a guy can capitalize.
I mean, he definitely does over like 3 out of 5s. I'll agree with you on that. I don't know if over 2 out of 3s. I don't know.
Yeah. He is one-dimensional though. There's no doubt about it. So
he's one-dimensional. I agree with you on that. But I just think but he's good enough at that one dimension to be a damn good player.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to say like, oh, he's only like I think it's like it's easy to let that like cloud you and like not like
Fair.
He's good.
Fair. Yeah, he's a good player. Good player. Yeah. All right. So that takes us to the end of round 2. Let's get right into round 3.
Yeah.
So I have 9 plays for tomorrow.
In 8 matches?
In 8 matches.
Impressive.
So I want to see how close we are. I'm very curious.
All right.
So the first match, ADF and Tommy Paul. I am betting here the over 2.5 sets.
I'm on the same exact train. So I can already tell you how this is going to go. Player A will win the first set. Player A will get a break in the second set. Player A will be up 5-3 in the second set. Player B will win the 9th game and the 10th game. I think player B will likely win the second set as well. It's going to go to a tiebreak.
Uh-huh.
I think it's kind of a coin flip. If player B wins the second set, and then I have no idea what's happening in the third set. Actually, I think player A comes back and wins the third set. I want to bet both guys in the WLW. These guys are both the same exact guy. Like in terms of mentally, I don't like whoever is serving for the match, you 100% should bet will choke. I think it's like more than 50-50 that whoever's serving for the match is going to get broken.
So do you think there's value in live betting it? If someone is serving for the match, they're up, say, 7-6, 5-4.
With these two guys, yeah.
And they're serving, say that Paul is serving for the match in the second set. Would you bet ADF there, live bet ADF there to win the match?
With these guys, yes.
Interesting.
Or at least I would bet, or actually probably you're better off here betting ADF to get broken, or betting whoever's serving to get broken in that, like betting just the individual game. Okay. And betting to lose, like either get broken or lose the set. Because like both these guys are battlers. Like I said, there's no reason why player A can't lose serving for the match and then come back and win the third set. Like they're both tough enough to do that.
I totally agree with you. And do you think there's another thing I was thinking about when I was looking at this was betting ADF on the money line at plus 137 because he's plus money.
I don't hate that either.
Since these guys are quite even, I would never take Paul at minus 164
I just think that the plus 135 for the 3 sets is so much better. Like, if you're telling me if my script is right or if an ADF moneyline script is right, I'm going with my script. Like, it's guaranteed.
Yeah,
You know whoever searches the match is done. Done. The first time the match gets served for, it is not getting closed out.
Don't they sometimes have a bet like more than one match point?
Yeah, that's a prop. Like, that's a prop I would love to hit in this
bet,
match.
right? I wish they had a prop bet for that.
Yeah, there's no props because it's too early in the tournament.
Yeah, because if that was a prop bet for this, I would hit the over.
Yeah,
There's no way that the first match point is being converted in this match.
No
way.
And I like the set here. The set's over here way more than the game's over. I just love getting paid at 135 here.
I agree because I could see like a 6-2 set. We saw one in Australia, I believe. Like
I could as well. Yes, I realized I left the camera. Sorry to whoever's watching. I had to charge the old cell phone.
They played.
They played in Australia. It was 5 sets.
The first 2 sets were 6-2, 2-6.
Yeah, I mean, look, I 100%. Yeah, I know. There can be short sets, but like, I really like this one. This is like, if you're gonna bet a match to go 3 sets, this is the match.
Totally agree. All right, next match, Schwartzman against Rune. So the bet I have here is a Rune under 12.5 at -125.
I don't hate it. I went more conservative and went Rune 2-0 at -175, but I don't hate your bet.
Okay. I think that Rune 2 sets to love. I think that's a bet I'm going to place in a parlay.
Okay.
I don't see how Schwartzman wins a set here. He's so underpowered. So underpowered.
It's not just that; it's just been so much worse, right? Like, I'm not impressed with beating Wu. Like, it still is on a hard court. Rune plays Holger Rune plays fine on slow hard. Like, it's not like he's like not a top 50 player. Like, I don't know if it's an ideal surface for him, but it's not like he's a bad player on this surface. Like, it gives him more time to set up and ball strike as well. Like, there's a time when Schwartzman would have been a really, really, really live player here. He still isn't playing well enough to me to have shown that.
No.
So I mean, like, yeah, it's really close here between which it's really like pick your favorite Rune line.
Yeah. I'm gonna go under 12.5 as a single bet, and I'm gonna do the 2 sets to love in a parlay. That's how I'm gonna play this.
I don't hate it.
Next match, Fritz and Chapo. I have Fritz -3.5 here.
I went Fritz 2 sets to none because you get slightly better pay. You get paid slightly better.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's even money, or it was even money when I already placed this as even money. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, they played in Acapulco and Fritz gave him a beatdown.
Yeah, it's 4-4.
So I'm probably gonna go with that. I didn't see that.
I mean, Chapo, so here's the thing, right? Like, this isn't saying that Chapo is not good enough to win a set. But is he good enough to win a set half the time? I don't think so.
Not the way he's playing now and how inconsistent he is right now.
That's what I mean. Like, if
it was 2019 Chapo, then absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. But like, and Fritz, I mean, Fritz is, we talk about, like, Fritz is like somewhere between 5 and 10 in terms of like player. Like, he still is a really good player.
And as
like,
you said,
it's easy to talk about his limitations, but like, he's really good.
And he got through the first hurdle, right? So
yeah, I mean, yeah, he got through that, and like, he also will play better against better players.
Yeah. All right, so Rublev against Kecmanovic. This is so. I know we talked about this. I know we said Rublev is a very hard guy to lay games with. but I got to do it here. I got to do Rublev -4 because I just think this is a really, really good matchup for Rublev because Kecmanovic just kind of feeds into what Rublev likes. He doesn't really have much variation. It'll just like give him pretty much free reins to tee off. No?
I don't hate the bet.
Okay.
I am staying away.
Staying away.
Like I think this is the right line.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is actually probably slightly advantageous for Kecmanovic. But like I would have put this line at 3.5 personally, not 4. But like the Rublev he just can't beat anybody by a good margin since the Australian Open.
I actually like the 2 set to love line better, my -130, than laying the 4 games.
My issue with that is, if I'm right, Rublev's done really well in tie breaks lately.
He has, and I think there's a pretty significant mental gap here as well.
So I mean, there might be, but I don't know, man. Like Rublev is 6-0 in his last 6 tie breaks. Do you think that continues? Do you think that's just like a stroke of luck? Like 6-0 is really rare for tie breaks. Usually tie breaks are a little bit more random than that. So I'm
yeah.
But like there's enough of a gap here that I'm not gonna take Kecmanovic either. So like I mean, I get it, right? You look at that and there's like, but I guess he did take a set off of Fritz at Delray Beach, right?
He did.
Yeah,
it was a fun.
I don't know. I think this is the right. I can also see this match going a lot of different ways. Like an interesting way to play this would be to take what you're saying and do something insane like Rublev -5.5 at like +200, whatever you can get. It's exactly +200.
Yeah, it's +200. Nah.
Not
I think
enough,
there's significant mental gap. I think this is a good matchup. Have these guys played?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think so. I think I looked this up. Oh, I'm wrong. They played once back in 2020, and Rublev dominated. Like, I'm not putting that much stock in that. It's 2020. It's 3 years ago.
3 years ago. I just like, based on how these guys play, I just look at it as a good matchup for Rublev because, like,
I told you I don't hate it. I'm just like, I'm not laying games on.
No, I'm not gonna lay the games. I'm scratching that. I'm gonna play the set spread.
But then you're talking about a guy who, like, the last time he's gone, like, I mean, I guess he did kill Lechka. I don't know, like, but like a bunch of his wins have like these really tight sets. Like, I mean, since the Australian Open, he got beat by de Minaur, had to beat Griekspoor in a tiebreak, lost to Lechka,
but like
beat Kujinic 5-2, won 2 tiebreaks against Fokina, won a tiebreak against VDZ, tiebreak against Zverev. Like,
I'm okay with a close set because of the mental gap, the difference in mental gap here.
I mean, if you really think that counts for that much, then
I think that counts
for it. I don't think it's terrible, but I'm not following you on it.
And I don't like the game spread because I like the set spread more than the game spread because, like, if Kecmanovic goes up a break or something, you're kind of screwed with the game spread. But if if he goes up a break, I'm pretty confident Rublev can break him back and then win a tiebreak. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's either that or stay away. But it's hard for me to stay away from any of these matches, as you know. Alcaraz Alajovic. I'm tempted to lay the games here. 6.5.
That's what I'm doing. So they've played twice already this year.
Both on clay, right?
Well, yeah, both during Golden Swing. Alcaraz's 3-0 career, because they played last year in the 2022 Australian, and Alcaraz won 2-1 and 7-5. They played in Buenos Aires this year, and Alcaraz won 4-2. And they played in Rio, and Lajovic gave him 2 tough sets, 4-6. But Alcaraz was not playing nearly as well. He's had a match now to get himself into the tournament. This isn't nearly as good of a surface for Lajovic, right? He's just a better player on clay. That one-handed backhand he hits, like that ball bounces up higher, which is good for him because he hits it with a lot of spin.
Right.
I like Alcaraz here.
Me too.
Laying the 6.5. I
For
think
all
this
the
should
reasons
be.
you mentioned, I agree with everything you said. So we'll tail each other on that.
But I'm still terrified because like it's just so many games.
But Alcaraz is flowing with confidence right now. I mean, he's playing insanely well at the moment.
I know.
He's playing so well.
And that's why I can do the 6.5 here, but I don't feel great about it. I have a pretty low confidence level. Not him winning the match, but him covering 6.5. Like if Lajovic gets 4-2 or 3-3, he covers.
Would you think of doing -8 at plus 315 and go more aggressive?
But then you start getting insane, right? Like then
you're
hoping
that beat Baena 1-2 today.
But that's what you need. That's the max. If you go -8, that's the max you can have happen and win. He's 1-2.
Yeah.
And then you're getting into betting on like what guys do when they're up a double break in 4 love.
Right, right.
And Alcaraz actually like these are really big spreads even for Alcaraz. Like once you get talking about like 6 or more, it's just a huge spread.
I feel like they're making like the coaching or Ferrero is making more of an emphasis on like finishing matches quicker to conserve his body. Like I feel like, because like he was up 6-love, 2-love, and he was still fist pumping and stuff. Like, and I heard saw people on Twitter taking offense to that, but like I think he's just trying to be more efficient and trying to win these matches.
I've got no issue with the fist pumping. I actually like it. I think more guys should. Like I hate when guys are like, "Oh, I'm ahead, so I'm not gonna like." No, you gotta like. There's no time in this sport. Like there's no clock. There's no mercy rule. And there's no clock. You gotta grind the guy into the ground. If you like,
every point has to be won.
What?
Every point has to be won.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so I got no issue with the fist pumping, the staying intense.
Yeah. I think the 6.5. I'm gonna lay that.
I think I will
leave it at that.
It just feels a little light. Like it actually feels like it should be 7. And like if it was 7.5, I'd stay away. But it feels like it's about half game to a game light.
Yeah, that shows how well Alcaraz is playing when we're saying it should be 7.5. It's crazy.
I know.
Insane. Ruusuvuori Daniel. This is a very interesting match. So my play here is Taro Daniel money line plus 155.
I got nothing here. I hear you, but like if we talk about Taro, this is a good time to talk about Taro Daniel, right? Like I think this whole excitement is a little overstated. So I'm gonna list his wins out this year for you.
Okay.
We got Edward Winter, right, in Adelaide. Ernesto Escobedo in the first round of the Australian
Open. I thought he was playing bad at that time of the year, so scratch that. Let's start with what he did, like in February.
Acapulco. We'll start with Acapulco.
Okay.
Well, but Monterey he beat Stevie Johnson, lost to Gojo. In Acapulco he beat Juan Alejandro Hernandez Serrano, Brandon Holt, JJ Wolf, and Rude. And this was Rude's first tournament back.
Okay.
So I'm not really impressed by any of those wins.
All right, Indian Wells.
We got Nick Hart, Hopperman, Baena, and Berrettini, who's been awful.
And then who did he lose to?
He played well against Nori. That I will 100% give you.
Okay.
But he lost 2-2 to Demonor in Acapulco?
After a tight 3-setter to Rude, though. So I would not back Daniel after a really tough match with no days off. Because he's a smaller guy that has to run down a lot of balls and focus on rally tolerance. But in this case, he had a very easy match against Zverev and had a full day off. So I think physically, there's going to be no issue. So that's the first thing I look at with Tara Daniel. Is that obstacle cleared? And it is.
Okay.
So then I look at Ruusuvuori, and it's like Ruusuvuori is one-dimensional. He's kind of a similar player to Zverev in a way, right? Where he doesn't really give much variation. He doesn't like change the rallies up. Like Daniel's going to be able to just stand in the back, run a lot of balls down, and force Ruusuvuori to miss. So I think Daniel matches up well against that kind of player. He'll struggle more against people like, who vary up paces and bring him in and stuff like that. But just grip and rip, Daniel likes that. He likes feeding off pace. So that's my rationale here. Plus, like even though like these quality wins have not really like these wins are not like true quality wins, he's piled up a lot of wins in the last couple weeks, going through qualifying. So he's building confidence. So I like the plus 155 here.
I think this is the perfect line. So I was trying to think about what this line should be, and I came up with where I would set it as Ruusuvuori -3, and I would set the money line at like plus 150 minus 180, which means that there's no play here for me.
Okay, I'm just doing straight money line. I'm not tinkering around with anything else.
Yeah, I think it's like it's not terrible. Like I'm not going the other way with it, but I think it's like I just think that I think this call is basically perfect. And like I said, like what I don't love is that like neither of these guys really has quality wins. Like we think both these guys are playing well, but neither of these guys really have quality wins. I mean, if you look at Ruusuvuori, you've got Leshen, RBA, 2 against RBA, Borges and RCB. So like that collection of wins isn't any better.
With these guys, I look at the losses too, right? Like I look at the tight loss to Zverev and Indian Wells as like a kind of a stepping stone to gain some confidence. With Daniel, obviously I'm going to look at the win against Zverev, but then I'm going to look at like the win against Ruud and the loss to Norrie, right? Like playing Norrie that tough.
So I don't care about the win because Ruud was off at that time. I don't care about the win against Zverev because Zverev had no energy and something was wrong with Zverev. Zverev doesn't get bagelled by Daniel if something's not wrong.
Do you hold some stock in Ruusuvuori forcing Zverev to tight 3-setter?
Yes.
Indian Wells. It's similar to Daniel's loss to Norrie.
Yeah, and I think Ruusuvuori is the slightly better player. Like I don't think this is a runaway. Again, I think the line should be what the line is. I think the line is the right line. That's which means that we're not that far off. Like, yeah. I mean, what do you think the line should be here?
Plus 135
and minus 165.
I don't think Ruusuvuori. I also think the matchup is good for Daniel. I think Daniel likes playing these kind of guys.
I mean, I don't know who's a similar guy to Ruusuvuori that you could even compare to. Like,
Zverev.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just not putting much stock in that match. Like,
no, I mean, okay. So if Zverev is himself, Zverev still doesn't win. He lost 11-4.
Well, I mean, are you sure 4 is not that much of a blood of a set?
Probably loses 5-5 or 5-4. Like Daniel outplayed him so badly, and he played well. And Ruusuvuori is a similar kind of player, so I like plus 155. Plus had a day off, not spent physically. I don't know. That's just the way I see this match.
All right. Yeah, like I said, to me, this is a
away.
Yeah, I just think the line is perfectly set. Like I said, I this is where I would have put this. I might have put the line at like 145 or 150, but I'm not going to split those hairs because of the vig, right? Of the juice.
Right. Sinner Dimitrov. This was a tough bet for me. I think it's a perfectly set line.
But
where
you're still gonna bet something.
I am, so I gotta pick the favorite line. All right, let's see. I want to see where you're going with this, and then I want to see if I would tail you on it.
I got nothing. I got nothing on this because the problem is like I think this is perfectly set.
Mhm.
Sinner like isn't blowing guys out. Like he had a tough match versus Manarino in Indian Wells. He like this. I don't think this slow hard court is actually that great of a surface for him. Um, he played a tiebreak against Gasquet. Like he's playing decently, but not amazing. Like, and Dimitrov has the talent to cover this spread. At the same time, like Dimitrov could go full Demi and like
Yeah,
be
Dimitrov's always
awful.
been a tough guy to bet.
Yeah. This isn't a spot where I love the over 12.5 for either guy. He had a tough match with Struff. But that doesn't mean he can't come out and play a lot better against Sinner. I mean, look at like
Yeah,
here's
I could
when
see
he's
some
played great.
lopsided sets here.
What?
I could see some lopsided sets here.
No, but he's also played great at times this year. Like he beat Hubie. He gave Djokovic probably his toughest match at the AO, with the exception of Tsitsipas. So
Mhm.
like, I don't have a play here. Like you have to lay juice, and I just don't like laying juice on this matchup because I don't like. I actually think there's some variation on Sinner too. Like I just
There
think
it
both
is.
these guys could be good or bad, and there's too much like
I
there's too
think the
much
only
variation with
play
both.
here actually is Dimitrov to win a set at even money.
So my play, if I have to make a play here, is I don't hate the over 2.5 sets at plus
Plus
165,
165.
but I'm not gonna take it because like my problem is like Demi could just go full Demi and lose like 2-2 and just not care. He's also dating some Russian oligarch, I think now. So now he has like mad money. Not that he didn't already, but like he doesn't need the money from this match.
That's a good nugget.
I don't know if he particularly.
I'll take that.
It's Miami, so like that's the other piece here. Is it's like Miami, so like I wouldn't be surprised if Grigor decided to go out to the club tonight and like party it up and just not care. Like
Yeah, that one happened with Sinner. But that being said, I'm not gonna lay 4 games. Uh
and like Dimitrov has too much talent. Like if he shows up, he could make this a darn good match.
right. Yeah, you know what? This is probably the match to stay away from. Uh Ruud and VDZ. I'm laying games here with Casper Ruud.
This I have no interest in. One guy who's playing terrible right now versus a guy who looks like he doesn't want to play. Who like one guy who can't play right now versus one guy who looks like he doesn't want to play right now. I have no interest in this match.
Yeah, as I said before, I think Ruud is starting to turn a corner. I like what I saw in the last match against Ivashka.
But that's Ivashka.
Is Ivashka playing that much worse or better than VDZ? I think VDZ and Ivashka have played quite a bit this year already.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like I'm not saying that Ivashka's not, but I'm saying like
Ivashka beat him in Indian Wells off of retirement. Is that retirement something to be concerned about? Or is that like because he just didn't want to be on the court?
no, he was hurt. He was legitimately hurt,
He
but
was
like he
legitimately
came back
hurt.
and he played terrible against Poppy, but he did win
So if
in
he was
3 sets. He played
legitimately
2 hours,
hurt
43
there,
minutes.
I know he had 2 weeks to recover, but that
I'm
might
based
be
on
a
the fact that he
lingering
did beat
concern after a
Popyrin.
tight 3-setter.
What?
That retirement, like I know he had 2 weeks to recover, but if
Yeah.
he retired from a significant injury or is it like a
Yeah.
physical ailment, that might take a toll after a tight 3-setter, which is more reason to bet Ruud here. Plus,
Yeah.
Ivashka just beat VDZ. And Rude just beat Ivashko. So
I need to see more than a. But I mean, okay, but then VDZ gave Rublev a good match, right? Rublev is playing way better than either of these guys right now, and he gave Rublev a decent match in Dubai.
it's way
And
faster
granted, that's a month
conditions,
ago, but
though.
like, what?
Way faster conditions.
Yeah, but is VDZ a terrible slow court play? I mean, like, let's look at this. Like,
Prefers
how
fast.
what?
He prefers fast. I don't know. I just have no confidence in VDZ right now. He's also extremely error prone right now. And I think Rude is starting to get that motivation back. He made finals here last year. So if we go based on your argument where he's not taking that as pressure, he's using that as motivation. Where he has to
I
get
mean, the
points.
points don't really matter that much here. Like we talked about this before, right? I think he stays.
It's the points from the slams that he needs to worry about. But yeah. I also like Rude minus 2 sets to love here, minus 110.
I mean, look, you want to hit every match. So, like, you know, if your goal is to hit every match, then I don't hit. Like, I would never go VDO. Actually, yeah, I just have no idea what this should look like. I mean, there's just way too much variation here.
Okay.
Like, these are two players I just have no confidence in right now. So that's why I'm not betting. Like, I think it's just a pure stay away.
So a lot of stay away for you tomorrow.
Yeah, well, there's just like unfortunately, all the guys I want to fade are against all the other guys I want to fade. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean, I do have bets, right? I've got stuff on the slate. I've got Alcaraz. I've got
yeah.
I've got Fritz. I think I have 4 bets. I'm betting half the matches.
Okay. All right, that's good. And then there are 3 matches out for Monday's slate. FA and Cerundolo, I feel like we see this a lot now. Are you just gonna keep back in the plus 4.5 just because like it's so hard for FA to cover?
What's the 3 set line here?
Plus 175.
That sounds good to me. Way better than the 4.
Yeah, but the thing is, Cerundolo has trouble breaking, right? Like
no, he's a fine at breaking. That's not the problem.
But FA, yeah. What was the score in Indian Wells? It was like
5 and 4, or 4 and 4, 5 and 4.
Did he break serve?
Yeah, he did. I'm pretty sure. At least I think he broke once. But again, like FA serve is top 5 in the game.
Because if the set goes to a tiebreaker, which I feel like has a like 15% chance of happening, FAA has such a big edge there.
Yeah, but nobody really does in tie breaks. Like, what is his edge? Like 60-40 maybe? 65? It's not huge.
65-35 in this matchup because there's a mental gap as well.
I don't know, man. Cerundolo goes 3 sets to everybody. I don't know if he's like mentally weak. He goes 3 sets to everybody.
But it's plus 175. It's a good number.
Like, I think that's the play. Like, Cerundolo will battle. It's a slightly slower court, so that should help him.
Over 22?
No, because if this is gonna go, I'd way rather like no, because I mean, this doesn't go 20. I mean, no, because you're giving up 80 cents. That over that plus 3 set, that over 200 cents at plus 175 is really appetizing.
It is.
Not that I think it'll get there, but plus 175 is a good price.
I'm curious if they have like an over first set, over like 9.5 games in the first set. I would take that.
They probably do. Scroll down. And minus 120? That's not bad either.
What, first set over?
Yeah, 9.5 and minus 120. That's not bad.
Where are you? Oh, yeah, right here. Yep. Yeah.
No, I still like the plus 175 for the 3 sets better than anything else. That's a good line.
That is a good line. Yeah, I agree with the over 20. That's not a good play because like the fact that the Montero match was over 20 and a half and this is 22, like that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it doesn't at
Okay.
all.
All right, I'll hit that too. Plus 175. I like that.
Yeah.
And then the last two matches that are out, Hallis McDonald.
Old McDonald.
We talked about it a little bit earlier. You thought that McDonald would be a 3-game favorite. He's a 2.5-game favorite. I think you have to hit that, considering what Hallis went through today.
You mean it's a day off.
Yeah, I guess. It's true.
What's the money line here?
Plus 155, minus 185. I mean,
And what is the sets line?
minus 1.5 sets is plus 130 for McDonald.
These lines are just also awful. Like,
Over 2.5 sets is plus 135.
no.
I might do McDonald money line and a money line parlay. That to me is the
Way to
play.
go in this matchup. Like,
Ooh, just as I refresh the screen, there are more matches up.
oh, nice, nice. But not nice. It's like Eubanks Barrera's up. We have to talk about the thing about Eubanks Barrera.
What a snoozer, man. That's this Miami's equivalent of Tabio against
Yeah.
Thompson.
Well, Jamil Thompson was more interesting.
Yeah. This is really a dud. Eubanks Barrera, I might hit the over 22.5. Right? Maybe. All right, just a couple more matches. So Molchan Medvedev. Ooh. So these are all pretty appetizing because like these lines just came out. So if you want to hit something, I think it like hit it now. Right? So Molchan is Medvedev is a 5-game favorite. I thought he would be 6 or 6.5.
I think this is pretty fair. Medvedev hasn't been that good here in his career.
But it's Molchan. Like, how is Molchan
More slow, hard. Like, I hear you, it's Molchan, but like Molchan's well. Yeah, Medvedev's still, yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. Like, this is like how bad do you think Molchan is? And like, I don't know, man. Is Molchan that bad on slow hard? Like, he beat Ramos 3-2, which not many guys do. Most guys beat him in 3.
He's
He beat
not.
Court. What?
This matchup is tough for him because like he can't really hit through this. Like, what is he really gonna?
That's really not Molchan's game, anyways, right? Molchan's more of like he's got like a lot of different stuff he does.
Yeah.
He might annoy Medvedev. I'm probably gonna stay away. This line feels like pretty close.
I like -5, and I see that moving to -5.5 or -6 by
Well, it's
match.
already basically at 5.5.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stay away from that.
Stay
I
with
love
that.
it. Yeah.
Kachanov Lechka. Ooh. Only a 1-game favorite for Kachanov.
I like Kachanov there. I'm waiting for the money line to come out because I'd probably rather play that, but I'm gonna play Kachanov.
Over 2.5 sets is only plus 125.
Yeah, that's no good. I'm just gonna play the Kachanov money line.
Kachanov over 12.5 is -110.
That's interesting. Also, depending what the money line comes out as.
That's
That's actually probably more
that's
interesting.
probably what I'm gonna hit.
Yeah. It's a contest between the money line, but I don't know if I'll hit the money line or if I'll hit catching up like over 12.5, but it'll be one of the two.
Okay. Hallis McDonald. Oh yeah, we discussed that. Are you hitting
Yeah.
anything there or no?
I don't know, man. Like, so well set. And the problem is, like I saw, it's like Holly's like Holly's can, because he's got that serve forehand combo, he actually can beat guys. Feel like you wouldn't think he could.
All right. Yeah, we didn't think he could beat Demonor today.
I love Garen plus 4.5 versus Tsitsipas. That's amazing.
Ew. That is amazing.
That's the one to hammer. I'm going to hammer that right now before that goes crazy. And I'm going to hammer that. I'm hitting that on the money line for Garen, I think.
Over
That's
two and a
the
half
play.
sets for Garen at plus 175.
I prefer just taking the money line on Garen.
Plus 325.
Yeah, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
Tsitsipas has said he doesn't want to be here. Garen's being a little bit overhyped, but he's better. Like he's
Also, this is Sissipas's first match. So he's,
yeah, there's just so many reasons here to bet
Yeah.
Garen.
And I saw a couple practices with Tsitsipas. He still isn't really hitting through that backhand. He's slicing it a lot. He's,
Oh, he's grimacing. He's grimacing on the backhand
Yeah.
side. It hurts him to hit the backhand.
I'm gonna place the money line bet on a book where I get paid out for retirement, though.
Yeah, that's smart. That's the right way to do that.
So, but I also like the over 2.5 sets and the game spread. I think any Garen line is really good here.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just pick your favorite Garen line.
Yeah,
Garin. I like the money line so much. I'm just gonna hit the money line.
nice.
Also, like so this is what we didn't get to talk about. Like money lines. The reason why I like when you go money line parlays is because money lines just have less vig.
Yep.
I don't know if you've noticed that or not. There's always less vig or less juice on the money line than on any other bet.
Well, there's also less variance because you don't have to consider a guy playing the score or,
My biggest thing is there's just less juice. Like the book is only taking 5% of your cut versus 10%. That's just way better.
Yeah. Right.
Like the only reason I play spreads is just like, it's a little more fun. Like you don't want to be a wimp and bet somebody at like minus 10,000. So like, how else do you, and sometimes because of sometimes on the money line, like when it gets extreme, like anything above like 2-1, like for them to take their 5%, the money line gets a little insane, right? So you're better off then with the spread because it's even though the book's taking more juice, you're like you don't have to go to from 3-1 to 4-1 in order to give up that 5%. But in parlays, man, I'm a fan of the money lines.
Like tomorrow, I might do a Casper Ruud, Rublev, Fritz, and maybe you add like a small favorite, like I don't know, maybe add one long shot or maybe Sinner in there. So Ruud, Sinner. Let me see what I get. So if you parlay those 4 guys, you get plus 185.
Ew.
I don't like that. You got to add one long shot kind of. So maybe if you take Ruud out and you put Daniel, which I like, you get plus 445.
That's nice.
Then if you add Holger Rune in there, you get plus 555. So if you put like 4 favorites and then one kind of long shot, or then not a long shot, but like one you like, but it's slight plus money, I think you could, you could do a nice parlay with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I just don't love a whole lot of tomorrow's matches.
Parlays. Yeah. And then how about the last thing we want to discuss before we leave today is that, like, when we do like those like 8, 9 leggers or something, I tend to put like half a unit or a third of a unit, whereas you go all in, you do full unit.
There's just no like if you think it's so like the reason to vary your units, right, is because you have varying levels of confidence relative to the payout. Like that's the reason to vary your units. Either that or just like bankroll management, like you don't want to lose too much of your bankroll. And you're just trying to like minimize your variance. Those are the only two reasons to do that. So like so yeah, so like I don't so the way I vary my the way I manage my variance is that my unit size is like I have a lot of units in my bankroll. And then the way that I guess I probably should vary my parlay betting size based on how good I feel about that particular parlay, I guess. That's probably not a good thing I do. I probably should vary like based on my confidence level, but like it doesn't mean that I would vary based on the size of the payout. I would just vary based on my confidence level relative to the payout.
So when I do parlays, I like to also do like, say if I bet Fritz -3.5 here,
Yeah.
parlay, I'll do an alternate line of 2.5.
Which to me, like, so we had this conversation, right? Like,
Yeah,
that they're the same thing, right? You're increasing your chance of winning the parlay, but you're giving up odds.
you're giving up odds, but so I feel like then if you lose the single bet, you could still win the parlay leg, and you still have like
so you're just managing your variance,
right. And I lower the unit size, so it's like, because I feel like if I did full units on all of these, like parlays, I win like an 8-legger, I win 1 out of like 80. You know,
and if it's 150 to 1, that's amazing, right? Then you're plus 70 units on those 80 bets. That's amazing. Why would you hurt your number of units won?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it's 1 out of 80. It might be 1 out of 150. You know,
right? But you feel like it's better than 1 out of 150. Otherwise, you wouldn't put the bet in.
that's true, because all the ones that you put in the parlay, you're pretty confident in.
All like right, you shouldn't make a bet, right? You shouldn't make a bet unless you feel good about it relative to the line.
Right. Okay. All right. So you know what? The next couple days, round 3 and round 4, when we do the parlays, I'm gonna implement your strategy, and I want to. I know, you know, there's a chance I might win all of them. There's very, very small chance I win all of them, but there's also a chance I lose all of them. But I want to see, like, if I don't know. Maybe it's hard to it's hard to say if I'm doing better or worse in a week, but
right.
It's
like, I mean, so like, are you making money right now on your parlays?
I am. I'm like 25 units.
So then if you would have gone with a higher unit size, you'd be up more units.
Okay. That's true. But I'm also taking more risk in a parlay. Like, a parlay is a more risky proposition.
But there's higher reward.
Yeah. I look
again, like if it's a good bet, it's a good bet. If it's not a good bet, then it's not a good bet. And if like the reason to vary your unit size is because you feel more or less confident about a bet. And it's all just a matter of, like, to be honest, it's all just a matter of variance management. Like, you know, yeah, but.
So for my parlays for the year, I'm up 30.55 units.
What is the difference between those two columns that you have? Is that single bet versus parlay?
No. So the right side, these are my parlays for the year, and then on the left side, all the way to the left, these are all my single bets.
But you have the two columns, the two columns with units.
Oh, yeah, these are units bet, and these are units won or lost.
Okay.
Because you do 1 unit for every bet, whereas
which is not smart, by the way. I should vary my unit size. I'm just lazy.
Oh, okay. Okay, I do it for my single bets. Like ones I'm more confident in, I put 2 units.
Yeah,
Ones
you
I'm
should
less
do that.
confident in,
You
I do
should do
one.
that. That's the right way to play. I mean, yeah, that's the right way to play it. That's smart. I just like I said, I'm not like, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to say I'm lazy. I just like I don't feel like more. I don't know. I feel like, and it's probably because I haven't like done a good job of tracking it, but like I feel like my confidence level, like I don't know
You're confident in all the bets that you place, I feel. Where
exactly. Otherwise, you wouldn't place them.
I'm more a high volume better.
Yeah,
So I bet every match, but ones I'm like, I don't know. I'll do a little less. But I still want
that
to
makes
beat
sense, right?
units.
If you're placing the bet just to like, if you're placing the bet just to have something to bet that match on for funsies, and you go with lower unit size, like that all makes sense, right? Like
Mhm.
what I don't love is the idea that like on things that are higher risk, and you're not the only person. Like most people do this, but what I don't love is the idea that on things that are higher risk but higher reward, that you should just like lower your unit size as a result. I just think that's like if you feel really good about a bet, you should go full unit.
Yeah, to me, like, I think it's in life. Like I think or dwell more on the bad than I
Well, that's a
look at
human
the
thing, right?
good.
And that's a very good thing you do that because it's why you're alive. I mean, like literally as no, like literally as a human, right? Like because you only live once, right? Which means you only die once. So like
Right.
if you didn't worry about variance and you just like took like massive risks all the time, you'd be dead.
Right. But I think more about the bad or the good. So I'm more worried about the risk until I reap the reward, which is why I go with the lower unit size, I guess. It's more about psychology than it is actual numbers.
Yeah, yeah. I
But
hear it. It just doesn't make a lot of logical or
all
mathematical
right, but the
sense.
next couple of days, I'm gonna implement your strategy. Every parlay, I'm gonna do a full unit, and
You're then
win
gonna
one. I'm
lose.
gonna
You're gonna
thank you.
lose 25 units the next 3 days and come back and complain to me. But that's okay. I'm gonna
That's
tell you
okay.
again.
We'll still be friends.
What?
We'll still be friends. All right.
Uh,
Well, this was a great podcast. We'll probably see you for the quarters or semis. We'll probably put another pod out at some point next week.
yeah. Thanks everyone for the response on the Twitter. I had some great conversation over the past couple days. Got a good history lesson on the Twitter, so I was happy about that. So thank you.
Yep, Kumat, bro. We like the chat. Klaus Fugard, also great call on the Nori being mentally fragile after a tough golden swing. You were spot on that. I shouldn't have bet futures on that. So I got to listen to you. Some more tidbits tennis. Nice chatter as always. I give him a shout out every pod.
Montano.
Hopefully you don't find any more like of my crazy looking faces and take screenshots of it. I hope I was smiling more on this pod. So have a great night, everyone. Take care.
Very nice.